Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited you're here. Today we're diving into a pick-a-card reading all about their feelings about recent changes. Like, what's going on with them during all this shift and change. So, for this reading, we're really going to try and tap into what's going on in their hearts and minds with everything that's been happening lately. It's so important to understand where people are coming from, especially when things are in flux, right? This reading is timeless, so whenever you're watching this, it's meant for you. Okay, so let's get into the piles. For our first pile, we have this agate butterfly. The theme here is emerging understanding, like seeing through the chaos. Then for pile 2, we have this ruby dragon. The energy here is all about fiery resistance, and maybe passions being ignited. Next, we have pile 3 with this opal heart. This is softened acceptance, focusing on compassion. And finally, pile 4 has this sapphire star, which is distant observation, taking a step back for perspective. So, take a moment, breathe, and see which crystal you're most drawn to. There's no pressure at all. Trust your intuition. Maybe you're drawn to more than one, and that's totally okay too. It's okay to check multiple piles too. Now, let's all take a moment to make a wish, focusing on clarity and understanding. Sending you all so much love and good energy. I hope this reading brings you exactly what you need today. Hi there, Crystal Agate Butterfly. Welcome to your reading. This crystal is all about clarifying, so you chose this pile because you're ready to see things clearly, like really clearly, And your reading theme is all about emerging understanding, seeing through the initial chaos to find a new, authentic perspective on what these changes truly mean for them and their future. So let's jump right into these cards and see what's going on, okay? First up, we have the Knight of Cups. Ooh, okay, so the Knight of Cups, how do I want to say this? This is like the romantic, dreamy energy, right? Like someone swept up in their feelings, maybe a little idealistic, but like in a really sweet way. Think grand gestures, right? Like showing up with flowers out of nowhere, writing a poem, or just like being super attentive and focused on you. Now, this can be them feeling this way, or someone directing this energy towards them. You know what I mean. So already, with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, we're starting to see this Knight of Cups energy come into focus. Like, is this a genuine offer of love and affection? Or is it just like infatuation? You know how sometimes you get caught up in the idea of someone? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here, at least initially. Okay, so let's just say hypothetically, that this Knight of Cups is someone new coming into their life, right? They're probably feeling super flattered, maybe even a little overwhelmed by all the attention. It's exciting, for sure, but with that agate butterfly energy, they're also thinking, okay, is this person for real? Are they seeing me or just their idea of me? Or, like maybe they're the Knight of Cups. Maybe they're the ones feeling all these intense, romantic feelings for someone. And they're trying to figure out if it's like a genuine connection or just a crush. And I feel like, either way, it's connected to the recent changes in their life somehow. Like, maybe these changes have made them more open to love, or maybe they're projecting their hopes and dreams onto this new person as a way to cope with the uncertainty, Okay, so that's the Knight of Cups energy. It's all about romance, feelings, and like the initial excitement of a new connection, but also a need to see things clearly and make sure it's grounded in reality, right? Not just fantasy. Because seriously, you don't want to end up heartbroken, right? Next up, we have the Queen of Pentacles. Ooh, I love this card. This is like the ultimate Earth Mother energy, right? Grounded, nurturing, secure, stable. This queen knows who she is, what she wants, and how to get it, but she's also incredibly kind and generous. She's the one who always has a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, and a home-cooked meal ready to go. So, how does this fit in with the Knight of Cups? Well, a couple of different possibilities here, right? First, this could be them. Maybe after all these recent changes, they're tapping into their own Queen of Pentacles energy. They're becoming more self-reliant, more grounded, more in tune with their own needs and desires, right? They're like, okay, I've been through a lot, but I'm still here, I'm strong, and I know what I deserve. And I feel like that clarifying energy of the agate butterfly is helping them to really embody this Queen of Pentacles energy, to own their power and their worth, Or, okay, possibility number 2, the Queen of Pentacles could be someone else in their life. maybe a close friend, a family member, or even a mentor who's providing them with support and guidance during this time. Someone who's helping them to stay grounded and focused on what's important, even when things feel chaotic, right? Like that voice of reason who reminds them to take care of themselves, to eat healthy, to get enough sleep, and to just, breathe, And it's interesting because the Queen of Pentacles is, the opposite of the Knight of Cups in some ways. The Knight is all about dreamy ideals, while the Queen is all about practical realities. So, maybe they're feeling torn between these two energies. They want to believe in the romance and excitement of the Knight, but they also know that they need to stay grounded and realistic, like the Queen, Or, okay, here's another thought. Maybe the Queen of Pentacles represents what they want in a relationship. After these changes, they're realizing that they're not just looking for a whirlwind romance. They're looking for someone who's stable, supportive, and reliable, someone who can build a life with, And it's the agate butterfly is helping them to see that difference, to clarify what they truly value in a partner, versus what's just a fleeting infatuation. So, yeah, the Queen of Pentacles is all about grounding, nurturing, and knowing your worth, whether it's them embodying that energy themselves or someone else bringing that energy into their life, It's a really powerful card, especially in the context of these recent changes. Because honestly, who doesn't need a little extra stability and support when things are up in the air, right? And finally, we have the Seven of Cups. Oh boy, okay, this card is all about choices, options, possibilities, right? But it's also about illusion, fantasy, and wishful thinking. It's like they're standing there, looking at all these different cups, each filled with something different. Money, power, love, success, but they don't know which one to choose, or even if any of them are real, So, in the context of these recent changes, and with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, I feel like this card is saying that they're facing a lot of different options right now, but they're not sure which path to take. Maybe these changes have opened up new opportunities for them, new career paths, new relationships, new living situations, but they're feeling overwhelmed by all the choices, right? It's they don't want to make the wrong decision, but they also don't want to miss out on something amazing. And the thing about the Seven of Cups is that not all of these options are necessarily what they seem, right? Some of them might be illusions, fantasies, or just wishful thinking. Maybe they're tempted by a job offer that sounds amazing on paper, but it's actually a dead end, Or maybe they're drawn to someone who seems perfect, but they're actually hiding something. So the agate butterfly is really important here, because it's helping them to see through the illusions and to discern what's real from what's not, It's they need to take a close look at each of these cups and ask themselves, is this something I truly want? Is it aligned with my values? Is it going to bring me long-term happiness? And it also ties back to the Knight of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles, right? Maybe one of these cups represents the Knight's offer of romance, but they need to decide if it's a genuine connection or just a fantasy. Or maybe another cup represents the Queen's stability and support, but they need to decide if they're ready to settle down and commit to something real. It's the Seven of Cups is forcing them to make a choice, to clarify what they truly want, and to let go of the illusions that are holding them back. And honestly, that can be a really scary process, right? Because it means facing your fears, confronting your insecurities, and taking responsibility for your own happiness. But with the agate butterfly by their side, they're totally capable of doing it, They just need to trust their intuition, listen to their heart, and remember that they deserve to have everything they want in life. So the Seven of Cups is all about choices, possibilities, and the need to see through illusions. And with the agate butterfly, you are clarifying which possibilities are real and which ones are not. Wow, okay, so these three cards together are telling a really interesting story, right? It's they're on a journey of self-discovery, sorting through their feelings, clarifying their values, and making important decisions about their future after all these changes. And it's all connected. The Knight of Cups' romance, the Queen of Pentacles' stability, and the Seven of Cups' choices all combine into this potent message. It feels like After the recent changes, their feelings are like a jumbled mess. There's a new person, new feelings, new options, but it's hard to figure out what's real and what's not, you know. But with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, they're starting to see things more clearly, to understand their own needs and desires, and to make choices that are aligned with their authentic self. It's like they're emerging from a cocoon, ready to spread their wings and fly, you know? I'm like, seriously feeling all the feels for them right now. So the big question is, which of these energies is resonating most strongly with them right now? Are they feeling more like the romantic Knight of Cups, the grounded Queen of Pentacles, or the overwhelmed Seven of Cups? Hold that thought, because we're gonna dive deeper into that in the next card. Okay, so hold on to your seat because now we have the Eight of Cups. Ooh, this is a big one. This card is all about walking away, leaving something behind, you know? Like emotionally walking away. Think about it, a figure cloaked walking away from 8 cups, right? Like they're leaving them behind. But here's the thing, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not always about sadness or loss, although, those feelings can definitely be part of it, you know? It's more about recognizing that something isn't serving you anymore, something isn't fulfilling you, and having the courage to walk away from it, even if it's hard, right? So, in the context of these recent changes, and with that clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, I feel like this card is saying that they're realizing that they need to let go of something in order to move forward, right? Something has run its course, and they need to release it. It's time to say goodbye, you know? And that can be, super scary, right? Especially if it's something that they've invested a lot of time, energy, or emotion into. But the Eight of Cups is saying that it's necessary for their growth and their well-being, you know? Okay, so how does this connect to the other cards, right? Let's start with the Knight of Cups. Maybe they're realizing that the romance and excitement of this new connection just isn't sustainable, you know? Maybe it was fun for a while, but it's not really what they're looking for in the long term. Or maybe they're realizing that the knight isn't who they thought they were, and they're walking away from the illusion of love, you know? Maybe they thought this was the real deal, and maybe it just isn't, you know? And I feel like the agate butterfly is helping them to see this clearly, to understand that it's okay to walk away from something that isn't right for them, even if it means disappointing someone else, you know? It's better to be true to yourself than to stay in a relationship that's not fulfilling, right? Or, okay, so let's just say, maybe they were the knight, and all this love and attention they're giving someone else isn't being reciprocated, and they need to walk away from that fantasy. Or, okay, maybe they're walking away from their old ideas about love and relationships, you know? Maybe they used to believe in fairy tale romances and grand gestures, but now they're realizing that they need something more real, more grounded, more sustainable, you know? They're waking away from a childhood dream, you know? Okay, so what about the Queen of Pentacles, right? This is interesting, because the Queen is all about stability and security, but maybe they're realizing that even stability can be a trap, you know? Maybe they've been clinging to a situation that feels safe and comfortable, but it's actually preventing them from growing and evolving, you know? A job, a home, or even a mindset, you know? Maybe they're walking away from the Queen of Pentacles energy altogether, right? Maybe they're realizing that they don't want to be the responsible, nurturing one all the time, you know? Maybe they need to prioritize their own needs and desires for a change, even if it means shaking things up a bit, you know? Maybe they want to be the knight, and maybe, just maybe, they want to be taken care of, you know? Or, okay, maybe someone else is embodying the queen, and they're realizing that relationship is stifling them, right? Maybe they're walking away from someone who's trying to control them or limit them in some way, even if it's coming from a place of love, you know? I only do it because I care kind of vibe, you know? Sometimes love can be a prison, you know? You need to be free. And honestly, that can be a really tough decision, right? Because it means letting go of that sense of security and venturing out into the unknown. But the Eight of Cups is saying that it's worth it, because on the other side of that fear is a whole new world of possibilities, you know? Now, the Seven of Cups, right? This card is all about choices and possibilities, but it can also be about feeling overwhelmed and indecisive. So maybe they're walking away from all the confusion and uncertainty, Like maybe they're tired of trying to figure out which path to take, and they just need to step back and clear their head, Like maybe they just need to be alone. It's like they're realizing that not all of these options are created equal, and some of them are actually leading them down the wrong path, right? So they're walking away from the illusions, the fantasies, and the wishful thinking, and they're choosing to focus on what's real and what's truly important to them, Maybe they're thinking, screw all this, I'm doing something else, Or okay, maybe they're walking away from a specific opportunity that they thought they wanted, but now they're realizing it's not the right fit, Like, maybe they were tempted by the money, the power, or the prestige, but it's not aligned with their values or their passions, right? It's like they're saying, no thanks, I'm not selling out, And honestly, that's a really powerful move, right? Because it shows that they're willing to prioritize their own integrity over external validation, right? So all of this makes me wonder, how are they really feeling about this stuff? Are they feeling relieved, sad, scared, or a mix of everything, right? I think it's probably a combination of all of those emotions, because walking away from something is never easy, right? There's always going to be some sense of loss, some sense of regret, some sense of fear about the future, right? But with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, they're starting to understand that this is a necessary step in their journey, right? It's like they're shedding their old skin, leaving behind what no longer serves them, and preparing to step into a new version of themselves, right? It's emerging understanding, And I feel like this is especially true in the context of these recent changes, because change is always about letting go of something old in order to make room for something new, right? So the Eight of Cups is a reminder that they don't have to cling to the past. They don't have to stay stuck in a situation that's not working for them, and they have the power to create a new future for themselves, But here's the million-dollar question, right? What are they walking towards? What's on the other side of those mountains, The Eight of Cups doesn't really tell us that, it just tells us what they're leaving behind. So, are they walking towards something better, something more fulfilling, something more aligned with their authentic self? Or are they just running away from their problems, hopping to find a quick fix somewhere else? And honestly, I don't know. But I feel like that's what we're going to find out in the next card, It's like, this is just one step in the journey, one piece of the puzzle, and we need to keep going to see the whole picture, But for now, I think it's safe to say that they're feeling a mix of emotions about these changes and about what they mean. They're probably feeling a little lost, a little confused, a little scared, but also a little excited, a little hopeful, and a little empowered, They're like, okay, I don't know exactly where I'm going, but I know I can't stay here, And that's a really powerful place to be, because it means they're open to new possibilities, new experiences, and new connections, And the agate butterfly is really helping them to embrace that uncertainty, to see it as an opportunity for growth and transformation, rather than something to be feared, right? It's like they're saying, okay, life is messy, life is unpredictable, but I'm ready for it, I'm ready to face whatever comes my way, and I'm ready to create a life that's truly authentic and fulfilling, let's do this, So yeah, the Eight of Cups is all about walking away, letting go, and embracing the unknown. And with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, they are feeling a mix of emotions. But they are emerging with an understanding that this change is necessary, and they are ready to move on, right? But what are the full implications of that decision? Are they going to regret it? Are they going to find what they're looking for? What's going to happen next? I am, seriously dying to know. Okay, so let's pull another card and see what's in store for them, because honestly, this is just getting too good. Okay, so, are you ready for this? Because seriously, this card is intense. We have the Judgment card. Whoa, okay, this is a big one. This isn't just about, feeling a little bit different, This is about a major wake-up call, a reckoning, a rebirth. Think about it, right? The figures rising from their coffins, hearing the call, answering to something bigger than themselves, It's about finally seeing things clearly, really clearly, and making a huge decision based on that clarity, It's like all of a sudden the scales fall from your eyes and you're like, oh my God, I get it now. You know. So, in the context of these recent changes, and with that clarifying agate butterfly energy, I feel like this card is saying that they're having a major realization about themselves and their life, right? Like, everything is coming into focus, and they can finally see what they need to do. This could be about forgiving themselves, forgiving someone else, or just like understanding the bigger picture, you know? It's a time of major transformation, a time of finally answering their true calling. Like, are they gonna answer the call? You know, that's what we gotta figure out. Okay, so how does this Judgment card connect to the Knight of Cups? Well, remember that Knight is all about romance and idealism, right? So, maybe they're realizing that their feelings for this person, or this person's feelings for them, were based on something that wasn't really real, you know? Like, maybe they were caught up in a fantasy, and now they're waking up to the truth, you know? Maybe the Judgment card is forcing them to see the Knight of Cups energy for what it really is, you know? Like, is it genuine love, or is it just infatuation? Is it sustainable, or is it just a fleeting feeling? You know? Or, okay, maybe they are the Knight, and they're realizing that they've been projecting their own hopes and dreams onto this person, you know? And the Judgment card is calling them to be more honest with themselves about their feelings, to see the other person for who they really are, not who they want them to be, you know? It's like they're having to judge the situation, you know? Are they being honest with themselves? Maybe they're realizing they have been running from some part of themselves. Like, are they using this romance as a distraction? But okay, here's another thought, right? Maybe the Judgment card is about forgiving the Knight, or forgiving themselves for getting caught up in the fantasy, you know? Like, maybe they're realizing that it's okay to have those feelings, it's okay to dream, it's okay to be a little idealistic, but it's also important to stay grounded in reality, you know? And maybe the agate butterfly is helping them to find that balance, to embrace the Knight's energy without losing sight of what's real, you know? It's about bringing the dream into reality, you know? Making a conscious choice to commit or not commit to the energy of the Knight. So basically, the Judgment card is shaking things up in the realm of love and relationships, forcing them to confront their feelings and make a decision about what they truly want, you know? What's the judgment they need to render? It's like a love trial, you know? Okay, so what about the Queen of Pentacles? Remember, she's all about stability, security, and nurturing, right? So maybe the Judgment card is calling them to reevaluate their relationship with these things, you know? Like, maybe they're realizing that they've been prioritizing stability over everything else, and they're sacrificing their own happiness in the process, you know? They're playing it too safe. Maybe they're so focused on being responsible and taking care of others that they're neglecting their own needs, you know? And the Judgment card is telling them that it's time to put themselves first for a change, to listen to their own inner voice and follow their own path, even if it means shaking things up a bit, you know? Are they judging themselves too harshly? Or, okay, maybe the Queen of Pentacles represents someone else in their life, and they're realizing that this person is holding them back in some way, you know? Like, maybe they're too controlling, too critical, or too focused on the practicalities of life to really support their dreams and aspirations, you know? And the Judgment card is calling them to set boundaries with this person, to stand up for themselves and create space for their own growth and development, you know? Or are they being too critical of the Queen? But okay, maybe the Judgment card is about forgiving the Queen, or forgiving themselves for relying too much on stability and security, you know? Like maybe they're realizing that it's okay to take risks, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to step outside of their comfort zone, you know? And maybe the agate butterfly is helping them to embrace that uncertainty, to see it as an opportunity for growth and transformation, rather than something to be feared, you know? They're finding the judgment of the Queen. Wanting. Ultimately, this judgment moment is about seeing clearly how they are relating to the idea of stability and security, and making a conscious choice to either embrace it or break free from it, you know? They're like, okay, am I living my best life or am I just settling? You know, now let's talk about the Seven of Cups, right? That card is all about choices, possibilities, and illusions. So, how does the Judgment card fit in? Well, maybe they're realizing that they've been too caught up in the illusion of choice, you know? Like, maybe they've been so focused on exploring all the different options that they haven't actually committed to anything, you know? They're frozen by indecision. And the Judgment card is calling them to make a decision, to choose a path and stick to it, even if it means letting go of some of the other possibilities, you know? The judgment is that they have to choose. Or, okay, maybe they're realizing that some of those choices were never really real in the first place, you know. Like, maybe they were based on wishful thinking or unrealistic expectations, and the Judgment card is helping them to see through the illusions and focus on what's truly possible, you know? The scales are falling from their eyes. But okay, here's another thought, right? Maybe the Judgment card is about forgiving themselves for making some bad choices in the past, you know? Like maybe they've been beating themselves up for taking the wrong path, but now they're realizing that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to learn from them, and it's okay to move on, you know? Are they judging themselves for their mistakes? And the agate butterfly is helping them to see that those mistakes were actually valuable lessons, and they've brought them to where they are today, you know? So, the Judgment card is forcing them to confront the choices they've made, to let go of the illusions that have been holding them back, and to step into a new chapter of their life with clarity and purpose, you know. They're like, okay, no more messing around, it's time to get serious, you know? And finally, we have the Eight of Cups, the card about walking away. So, how does the Judgment card play into this? Well, maybe they're realizing that they made the right decision to walk away from something, you know. Like maybe they were second-guessing themselves, wondering if they should have stayed, but now they're seeing that it was absolutely the right thing to do, and the Judgment card is validating their choice, you know? They're like, yes, I knew it, I made the right call. You know, judgment is affirmation. Or, okay, maybe they're realizing that they walked away for the wrong reasons, you know? Like maybe they were running away from their problems instead of facing them, and the Judgment card is calling them to go back and deal with whatever they left behind, you know? Oh no, the Judgment calls them back. Like, you can't escape your karma. You know? But okay, maybe the Judgment card is about forgiving themselves for walking away, even if it was the wrong decision, you know? Like, maybe they're realizing that it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to change their mind, and it's okay to try again, you know? Like, they get a clean slate. And the agate butterfly is helping them to see that the experience of walking away taught them something valuable, and it's made them stronger and wiser, you know? So the Judgment card is bringing clarity and closure to the situation of walking away, helping them to understand the reasons behind their decision and to move forward with confidence, whether they stay away or if they return, you know. They're like, okay, I know what I need to do now and I'm ready to do it, you know. Okay, so like all these cards together, it's like a major turning point, right? They're going through a huge transformation, shedding their old skin and stepping into a new version of themselves, you know. The Judgment card is the catalyst for all of this, forcing them to confront their feelings, make difficult decisions, and embrace their true calling, you know. The agate butterfly is there to help them see clearly and to trust their intuition, but ultimately, it's up to them to answer the call, you know? But like, what does all this really mean for their future? Are they going to find happiness and fulfillment on this new path, or are they going to face even more challenges and obstacles? Like, is this judgment, like, a good thing or a bad thing? Are they going to be happy with what they learn? And honestly, I don't know. But I have a feeling that the next card is going to give us some clues, you know? It's like we're just scratching the surface here, and there's so much more to discover, you know? So, like, hold on tight, because this is about to get really interesting, you know? Seriously, like, I am so excited to see what's next. It's like I can barely contain myself. Let's get to the next card. What does it all mean? Okay, so, like, deep breaths, because this is a powerful card, you know? We have the Strength card. Whoa, like, seriously, this isn't about, like, physical strength, you know? It's about inner strength, emotional strength, the ability to tame your fears and anxieties and to find your power within, right? Like, think about the image, right? The woman gently holding the lion, not fighting it, not overpowering it, but like connecting with it, understanding it, and like taming it with her love and compassion, you know? It's like the ultimate symbol of grace under pressure, you know? So, in the context of all these recent changes, with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, and after that major judgment moment, I feel like this card is saying that they're discovering a new level of inner strength and resilience, right? They're realizing that they can handle anything that comes their way, that they have the power to overcome any challenge, and that they're not as fragile as they thought they were, you know? They're like, okay, bring it on, I got this. You know, it's emerging understanding. Okay, so, how does this strength card connect to the other cards? Let's start with the Knight of Cups, right? So, remember, that knight is all about romance and idealism, but it can also be about being swept away by your emotions, right? So, maybe they're realizing that they don't need someone else to complete them, that they can find that love and validation within themselves, right? Maybe they're understanding that they don't need a knight in shining armor to rescue them. They can rescue themselves, you know? They're strong enough to handle their own emotions, to set their own boundaries, and to create their own happiness, regardless of what anyone else does or doesn't do, right? They don't need the validation of the knight, right? Or, okay, maybe the strength card is helping them to find the courage to be vulnerable with the knight, to express their true feelings without fear of rejection, you know? Maybe they're realizing that true strength isn't about being tough and independent, it's about being open and honest and authentic, even when it's scary, you know? They're going to tell the knight how they feel, but only if it's true to themselves. It's like the agate butterfly is helping them to see that vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness, and that true connection comes from being real with each other, right? So they're saying, I can be strong, even in expressing vulnerability. The knight is making them braver. Or maybe they're breaking up with the knight, but they're doing it from a place of compassion. They are letting the knight go with love, with understanding, with strength. Okay, so, what about the Queen of Pentacles, right? She's all about stability and security, but she can also be about being stuck in a rut, right? So, maybe they're realizing that they don't have to sacrifice their own happiness in order to maintain a sense of stability, that they can create a life that's both secure and fulfilling, you know? Maybe they're learning to balance their need for security with their desire for adventure, to find a way to be both grounded and free, right? They can be the queen and still leave the castle, you know? Maybe they're realizing it's okay to ask the queen for help, but they need to remain strong within themselves, you know? Or, okay, maybe the strength card is helping them to find the courage to break free from a situation that's no longer serving them, even if it's scary and uncertain, you know? Maybe they're realizing that they're strong enough to handle whatever challenges come their way, and that they don't have to stay stuck in a comfortable but unfulfilling situation, right? They're realizing that true strength isn't about clinging to what's familiar, it's about taking risks and pursuing their dreams, even when it's hard, you know? With the agate butterfly's clarifying energy, they know what they want, even though the queen has provided so much, right? Now, let's talk about the Seven of Cups, right? That card is all about choices and possibilities, but it can also be about feeling overwhelmed and confused, right? So, maybe they're realizing that they don't have to make all the right choices, that it's okay to make mistakes and learn from them, you know? Maybe they're understanding that life is a journey, not a destination, and that it's okay to explore different paths and experiment with different possibilities, right? They can try a cup, and if it doesn't taste good, they can put it down, you know? And it's okay. Or, okay, maybe the strength card is helping them to find the clarity and focus they need to make a decision about which path to take, you know? Maybe they're realizing that they don't have to try to do everything all at once, that they can focus on one thing at a time and trust that they'll eventually find their way, right? Maybe they're using the agate butterfly to see that it's okay to release certain cups, but it takes strength to commit to only one, right? So, they're not going to be overwhelmed by all the choices, they're going to be empowered by their ability to choose, you know? And then there's the Eight of Cups, the card about walking away, right? So, maybe they're realizing that they made the right decision to walk away, that they're strong enough to face the unknown and create a new future for themselves, right? Maybe they're feeling confident and empowered about their ability to leave behind what no longer serves them and move forward with their lives, right? They can walk away, head held high. Or, okay, maybe the strength card is helping them to heal from the pain and disappointment of walking away, to forgive themselves for any mistakes they made, and to move on with compassion and self-love, you know? Maybe the agate butterfly is showing them that they can walk away with their strength, with their integrity, right? And it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel regret. But they can still be strong. So they're not going to let the past hold them back. They're going to use it as a learning experience and move forward with confidence and hope, you know? And finally, the judgment card. Like, that's a huge one, right? So maybe they're realizing that they're strong enough to face the truth about themselves and their life, to accept their flaws and imperfections, and to embrace their authentic self, right? Like, maybe they're feeling empowered to make positive changes in their lives, to break free from old patterns and beliefs, and to create a future that's aligned with their values and their dreams, right? This is emerging understanding at its finest. Or, okay, maybe the strength card is helping them to forgive themselves for past mistakes and to move forward with compassion and self-acceptance, you know? The agate butterfly is helping them judge themselves fairly, right? Maybe they're realizing that everyone makes mistakes and that it's okay to learn from them and move on, right? They can integrate the lessons from the judgment and be stronger for it. So they're not going to let the past define them. They're going to use it as an opportunity for growth and transformation, you know? So, like all these cards together, it's like a powerful message of inner strength, resilience, and self-discovery, right? They're learning to tame their inner demons, to embrace their vulnerability, and to create a life that's both fulfilling and authentic, you know? But like, how are they really feeling about all this? Are they feeling confident and empowered, or are they still struggling with fear and doubt? Are they truly embracing their inner strength, or are they just putting on a brave face? Like, what is it all meaning? And honestly, I don't know. But I have a feeling that the next card is going to give us some more clues, you know? I cannot wait to see this final revelation, you know? It's like, this whole reading has been building up to this moment, and I'm so excited to see what the universe has in store for them, you know? So, like, hold on tight, because this is about to get even more interesting, you know? Like, seriously, I'm on the edge of my seat. The agate butterfly can only help them clarify so much. Let's see what this next card has to say. What are the long-term results of all this strength? Okay, so, like, are you ready for this? Because seriously, this card is like a gut punch, you know? We have the Ten of Wands. Okay, so, like, think about it, right? Someone, like, totally weighed down, carrying, like, a huge bundle of wands, like, struggling under the weight, you know? It's like the universe saying, okay, honey, you've taken on too much, you know? It's that feeling of being completely overwhelmed, burdened, and just, like, drowning in responsibilities, you know? Like, you're doing all the things, but you're not enjoying any of the things, you know? So, in the context of all these recent changes, with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, and like, after that major judgment moment and all that newfound strength, I feel like this card is saying that they're feeling, like, seriously overloaded, right? Like they've taken on too many commitments, too many projects, too many expectations, and they're just, like, struggling to keep it all together, you know? They're reaching emerging understanding, but, like, they're exhausted. Okay, so, like, how does this Ten of Wands connect to the other cards? Let's start with the Knight of Cups, right? So remember, that knight is all about romance and idealism, but it can also be about, like, getting caught up in the fantasy, you know? So maybe they dove headfirst into this new relationship, all hearts and flowers, but now they're realizing that it's actually a lot of work, right? Like, relationships take effort, and maybe they're feeling the pressure of trying to live up to this, like, perfect romantic ideal, you know? Are they trying too hard to be the perfect partner? Are they being swept away by the new romance? Maybe they're trying to force the relationship to be something that it's not, and that's why it feels so heavy, you know? It's like they're carrying the weight of the relationship on their shoulders, trying to make it work, even when it's not really a good fit, you know? The agate butterfly can only help them to see that, like, love shouldn't feel like a burden, right? It should feel like a joy. Or, like, maybe the knight is the one who's putting all the pressure on them, right? Like, maybe they're expecting too much, demanding too much attention, or just generally being, like, super needy, you know? And they're feeling obligated to meet those expectations, even though it's draining them dry, Like they're carrying the weight of the night's expectations, trying to keep them happy, even when it's costing them their own peace of mind, Is the night too much work? Okay, so, what about the Queen of Pentacles, right? She's all about stability and security, but she can also be about, taking on too much responsibility, So maybe they're feeling overwhelmed by their responsibilities at home or at work, right? Like maybe they're the one who's always taking care of everyone else, but they're neglecting their own needs in the process, Are they trying to be super mom or super dad? Maybe they're feeling the pressure to maintain a certain lifestyle, to keep everything running smoothly, even when they're, totally exhausted, They're trying to be everything to everyone, and it's just not sustainable, It's like the agate butterfly is whispering, "You can't pour from an empty cup, honey." They need to prioritize themselves, Or maybe they're feeling obligated to support someone else financially or emotionally, even though it's putting a strain on them, Like maybe they're taking care of an aging parent, a struggling sibling, or a freeloading friend, and they're feeling resentful about it, but they don't know how to say no, The Queen is making them feel responsible, but they're cracking under the pressure. Like they're carrying the weight of someone else's burdens, and it's just too much to handle, The Judgment is that they can't be responsible for other people's choices, Now, let's talk about the Seven of Cups, right? That card is all about choices and possibilities, but it can also be about, feeling scattered and indecisive, So maybe they're feeling overwhelmed by all the different options that are available to them, right? They took the strength to see the possibilities, but now it's too much. Like maybe they're trying to juggle too many projects at once, or they're feeling pulled in too many different directions, and they're just, losing focus, The agate butterfly showed them the options, but now they're realizing they can't do it all, honey. Are they trying to pursue too many different goals at the same time? Maybe they're afraid of missing out on something, so they're trying to keep all their options open, but it's actually making them feel more stressed and less productive, They're carrying the weight of all those unmade decisions, and it's just paralyzing them, Like they need to choose, and they need to choose now. Or maybe they're feeling pressured to make the right choice, but they're afraid of making the wrong one, so they're just procrastinating and avoiding the decision altogether, Okay, so what about the Eight of Cups, the card about walking away, right? Did they actually walk away from the right thing? Maybe they thought that walking away would solve all their problems, but it actually created even more, Maybe they left a job that was stressing them out, but now they're struggling to make ends meet, right? Or maybe they ended a relationship that wasn't working, but now they're feeling lonely and isolated, The agate butterfly might have shown them the door, but now they're realizing that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, honey. Are they regretting their decision to walk away? Maybe they're realizing that they left some unfinished business behind, and now it's coming back to haunt them, Maybe they need to go back and confront whatever they were running away from in order to truly move on, They're carrying the weight of their past decisions, and it's preventing them from fully embracing the present, What will Judgment show them now? They can't escape their responsibilities that easily, Or maybe that the new path they chose is also heavy. And then there's the Judgment card, right? That major wake-up call. So, maybe they had this huge realization about themselves and their life, and they felt like they needed to make some drastic changes, but now they're realizing that those changes came with a price, What will emerging understanding mean for them now? Maybe they quit their job to pursue their passion, but now they're struggling to make a living, right? Or maybe they ended a toxic relationship, but now they're feeling lost and confused about who they are, The Judgment came, but now what? The agate butterfly showed them the truth, but now they're overwhelmed by the consequences, honey. Are they feeling the weight of their newfound awareness and what they needed to do? Maybe they're realizing that it's not enough to just know what you need to do, you actually have to do it, and that can be really hard, Maybe they're feeling the pressure to live up to their own ideals, to be the best version of themselves, and it's just too much to handle, So all these cards together, it's a huge reality check, right? They're learning that even positive changes can come with challenges, and that it's important to find a balance between their responsibilities and their own well-being, you know. The Ten of Wands is forcing them to take a step back and reassess their priorities, to let go of what's no longer serving them, and to focus on what truly matters, you know. But like, how are they going to do that? What are they going to let go of? Are they even capable of letting go? And honestly, I have no idea. But I have a feeling that the next and final card is going to give us the answer, you know? It's like, this whole reading has been building up to this one moment, and I'm, like, seriously dying to know what the universe has to say. So, like, hold on tight, because this is about to get real, you know? Seriously, I can barely breathe with anticipation. The agate butterfly has given them the clarity, but what will they do with it? Okay, so, like, seriously, after all that, with the Ten of Wands, you're probably feeling like you're drowning, right? Like, you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you're just, like, desperate for a break, you know? But, like, don't worry, because the Temperance card is here to help. This card is all about finding balance, harmony, and moderation in all areas of your life, you know. It's about, like, mixing the different aspects of yourself together to create something beautiful and whole, just like mixing water and wine, you know. So, like, in the context of all these recent changes, with the clarifying energy of the agate butterfly, after that judgment and all that strength, this card is saying that you need to find a way to bring more balance into your life, to create more space for self-care, and to trust that everything is unfolding as it should, even when it doesn't feel like it, you know. Okay, so, like, how does Temperance connect to the other cards? Let's start with the Knight of Cups, right? So, remember that Knight is all about romance and idealism, but it can also be about getting carried away by your emotions, you know? So, maybe you need to find a way to temper those emotions, to find a balance between your head and your heart, you know? Like, don't let your feelings completely control you, but don't ignore them either, you know? Find that middle ground, you know? Temperance is telling you to not give all your energy to the Knight if it's at the expense of everything else, you know? And like, maybe you need to find a way to bring more harmony into your relationship, to communicate your needs and boundaries clearly, and to make sure that both partners are feeling supported and valued, you know? Like, relationships are a dance, not a competition, you know? Temperance is reminding you to not let the Knight overwhelm you. You are both equals, you know? Or like, maybe you need to temper your expectations of the relationship, to accept that it's not always going to be perfect, and to focus on appreciating the good things, you know? Like, every relationship has its ups and downs, but it's how you handle those challenges that really matters, you know? The agate butterfly is helping you to see the reality of the relationship, and Temperance is helping you to find a healthy balance within it, you know? Like, love isn't always fireworks. Sometimes it's just a quiet, steady flame, you know? But it's still beautiful, you know? Okay, so, like, what about the Queen of Pentacles, right? She's all about stability and security, but she can also be about getting stuck in a rut, you know? So, maybe you need to find a way to bring more adventure and excitement into your life, to step outside of your comfort zone, and to try new things, you know? The agate butterfly has probably shown you that already, you know? Don't let stability become stagnation, you know? Temperance is telling you that it's okay to shake things up a bit, to take risks, and to pursue your passions, even if it means sacrificing some of that security, you know? Like, life is too short to play it safe all the time, you know? Or like, maybe you need to find a way to bring more balance into your work life, to set boundaries between your work and your personal life, and to make sure that you're not sacrificing your health and well-being for your career, you know? Like, your job is important, but it's not the only thing that matters, you know? Temperance is here to remind you that work-life balance is essential, you know? You need to find time for yourself, for your loved ones, and for your hobbies, you know? Now, let's talk about the Seven of Cups, right? That card is all about choices and possibilities, but it can also be about feeling overwhelmed and indecisive, you know? So maybe you need to find a way to narrow down your options, to focus on what's truly important to you, and to let go of the rest, you know? The agate butterfly showed you the way. Temperance helps you stay on it, you know? Don't try to do everything all at once, you know? Temperance is telling you that it's okay to say no, to prioritize your time and energy, and to focus on one thing at a time, you know? Like, quality over quantity always, you know? Or like, maybe you need to find a way to trust your intuition and make a decision, even if you're not 100% sure it's the right one, Like, sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith and see what happens, The universe will catch you if you fall, Temperance is reminding you to trust yourself, You know what's best for you, even if it doesn't always feel like it, And then there's the Eight of Cups, the card about walking away, right? So maybe you need to find a way to integrate that experience into your life, to learn from it, to grow from it, and to move forward with wisdom and compassion, Like, don't let the past define you, but don't ignore it either, Temperance is telling you that everything happens for a reason, and that even difficult experiences can teach you valuable lessons, Or, like, maybe you need to find a way to forgive yourself for whatever mistakes you made along the way, to let go of any guilt or shame, and to embrace your imperfections, Like, you're human, you're going to make mistakes, but that's okay, It's how you learn from those mistakes that really matters, Temperance is showing you that self-compassion is key, You can't be perfect, but you can be kind to yourself, And finally, the Judgment card, right? That major wake-up call. So, maybe you need to find a way to integrate that new awareness into your daily life, to live in alignment with your values, and to make choices that reflect your true self, Like, don't just have the realization, act on it, Temperance is pushing you to live authentically, Or like, maybe you need to find a way to balance your newfound awareness with your existing responsibilities, to integrate your old life with your new life, and to create a future that's both fulfilling and sustainable, Like, you can't just abandon everything and start over. You need to find a way to blend the old with the new, Temperance is helping you integrate, You can take the best parts of your past and combine them with your dreams for the future, And even with the Ten of Wands, all that overdoing, all that weight, that Temperance is telling you to release it. Like, okay, you're feeling overwhelmed, but what can you let go of? What can you delegate? What can you simplify? The agate butterfly has shown you what's truly important, and Temperance is helping you to prioritize those things, Like, you don't have to do everything yourself, It's okay to ask for help, to set boundaries, and to say no, You're allowed to have limits, And seriously, like, self-care isn't selfish, it's essential, You can't pour from an empty cup, so you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first, before you try to take care of everyone else, So, like, all these cards together, it's a powerful message about finding balance, harmony, and moderation in all areas of your life, You're learning to temper your emotions, your expectations, your responsibilities, and your choices in order to create a life that's both fulfilling and sustainable, The agate butterfly is helping you to see things clearly, and Temperance is helping you to find that middle ground, But like, how do you actually do that, right? How do you find that balance in your everyday life? Well, here are a few tips. First, prioritize self-care, Make time for activities that nourish your body, mind, and soul, whether it's exercise, meditation, reading, spending time in nature, or just taking a long, hot bath, Second, set boundaries, Learn to say no to requests that drain your energy or compromise your values, and don't be afraid to disappoint people, Your time and energy are valuable, and you have the right to protect them, Third, delegate responsibilities, Don't try to do everything yourself. Ask for help from your partner, your family, your friends, or your colleagues, You don't have to be a martyr, Fourth, simplify your life, Get rid of clutter, both physical and mental, and focus on what's truly important to you, Less is more always, Fifth, practice gratitude, Take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how small they may seem, Gratitude shifts your perspective and helps you to see the beauty in the everyday, And finally, trust the process, Know that everything is unfolding as it should, even when it doesn't feel like it, and have faith that you're on the right path, The universe is supporting you, even when you can't see it, so just keep moving forward, one step at a time, Seriously, you got this. You are strong, you are wise, and you are capable of creating a life that's both balanced and fulfilling. The agate butterfly has given you the clarity, Temperance has given you the guidance, and now it's up to you to take action, I believe in you. Okay, so for Pile Crystal Ruby Dragon, that is all about illumination, right? What's being revealed? And the theme here is fiery resistance, which is all about unearthing these really deeply rooted passions and instincts, and how they're fueling how this person is defending against changes, or how they're igniting like a brand new drive to conquer whatever challenges are being presented. So yeah, let's dive into the cards and see what's going on for your person. Okay, first up, we have the Star, and oh my gosh, this card is just so beautiful, you know? It's like pure hope, pure inspiration, like wishes coming true. But it's coming up first in this reading about how they feel about recent changes. That's interesting, right? So I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, underneath all the surface stuff, this person is secretly hopping for the best, even if they're not showing it, you know? It's like there's a little spark of optimism buried deep down. Or, okay, here's another way to look at it. The Star often shows up after a really difficult time, like after a dark night of the soul, right? So maybe these recent changes, whatever they are, they've been really hard on your person. Like, really hard. But the Star is saying that there is healing available. There's hope on the horizon, you know? It's like things are starting to get better, or at least they have the potential to get better. Now, I need to really think about this in the context of this reading, because it's not just about hope in general, it's about their feelings about these specific changes. So, maybe they see these changes as a way out of something difficult. Maybe they're like, okay, this is hard, but it's also an opportunity for something better, you know. Like maybe they lost their job and it sucks, but secretly they're hoping it's a chance to find something they're actually passionate about. Or maybe their relationship ended, and yeah, it hurts, but deep down they're hopping it means they can finally find someone who's really right for them. Okay, but hold on, there's another angle. The Star can also be about feeling lost or uncertain. Like, you know, wishing upon a star but not really knowing what you're wishing for. So, maybe these changes have left your person feeling totally adrift. Like, they don't know what to do next, they don't know where to turn, and they're just kind of hopping that something, anything, will come along and guide them. And you know what else? The Star is also about authenticity, being true to yourself. So maybe these changes are forcing your person to really look at who they are and what they want. Like, maybe they've been living a life that wasn't really aligned with their true self, and these changes are shaking things up and forcing them to get real with themselves. It could be scary, but also really liberating. They might secretly be longing to embrace a more authentic version of themselves. Okay, so with this ruby dragon energy, which is all about passion, I'm wondering if this hope is connected to something they're really passionate about. Maybe these changes are somehow linked to their dreams or their life purpose. Like, maybe they've always wanted to be an artist, and these changes are giving them the time and space to finally pursue their creative passions. Or maybe they've always wanted to travel the world, and these changes are creating the opportunity for them to do that. But then again, this dragon energy could also mean they're fiercely protecting their dreams. Like, maybe they're afraid that these changes will take them further away from what they really want. So they're hopping, praying that they can still hold on to their dreams despite everything that's happening. You know, it's like that whole fight or flight thing, and maybe they're choosing to fight for their hopes and dreams. Okay, I feel like there's still more here. The Star is also about healing, like I said, but it's not just physical healing, it's also emotional and spiritual healing. So maybe these changes are actually helping your person heal from something deep down. Like, maybe they've been carrying around a lot of pain or trauma, and these changes are forcing them to confront it and release it. Or maybe they've been feeling disconnected from their spirituality, and these changes are helping them reconnect with their higher self. And you know what? Because this is about how they feel, it's important to remember that they might not even be aware of all this consciously. Like, they might be putting on a brave face and acting like everything's fine, but deep down, on a subconscious level, they're feeling all these things. The hope, the fear, the uncertainty, the longing for authenticity, the connection to their passions, the need for healing. It's all there, bubbling beneath the surface. I think the biggest thing here is that the Star is a card of potential. It's not a guarantee that everything will be perfect, but it's a sign that things can get better. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always a glimmer of hope. And that's a really powerful message, especially when you're dealing with big changes. So yeah, even if they're resisting these changes on some level or feeling totally overwhelmed by them, there's still this little spark of hope within them, whispering that everything's going to be okay. So, okay, that's the star, and it's really painting this picture of underlying hope, but now we have to get into the Nine of Wands, which is like, whoa, totally different energy, right? Okay, Nine of Wands, this card is like guarded, defensive, wary, someone who's been through a lot and is ready for more. They're like, okay, I've fought battles before and I'm ready to fight again. It's giving me major been there, done that vibes. So, like, how does this fit in with the star and their feelings about these recent changes? Well, first of all, it could mean that they're feeling really vulnerable right now. Like, these changes have left them feeling exposed and like they need to protect themselves. Maybe they've been hurt in the past and they're afraid of getting hurt again, so they're putting up walls and being extra cautious. It's like they're hopping for the best with the star, but the Nine of Wands is saying, yeah, but be careful, because things could still go wrong. Or, okay, here's another possibility. Maybe they feel like they've already been through so much and they're just tired of fighting. Like they're like, not again. I don't have the energy for this. They might be resisting these changes simply because they're exhausted. They just want some peace and quiet, but life keeps throwing curveballs at them. And you know what else? The Nine of Wands can also represent resilience. Like, yeah, they're guarded, but they're also strong and capable. They've learned from their past experiences, and they know how to handle difficult situations. So maybe they're feeling a mix of hope and trepidation, but they're also confident that they can get through whatever comes their way. They've got that bring-it-on attitude, even if they are a little weary. Now, I need to connect this back to the fiery resistance theme, right? So, like, with this Nine of Wands energy, are they resisting these changes because they feel like their boundaries are being crossed? Like, maybe they feel like someone is trying to take advantage of them or push them too far. They might be digging in their heels and refusing to budge because they know what they're worth and they're not going to let anyone walk all over them. Or, okay, maybe they're resisting these changes because they're afraid of losing control. The Nine of Wands is all about maintaining your position, holding your ground. So maybe they feel like these changes are threatening their sense of security and stability. They might be clinging to what they know, even if it's not working for them anymore, because they're afraid of the unknown. And thinking about the star again, maybe this guardedness is actually protecting their hope. Like, they're not letting themselves get too excited because they don't want to be disappointed. They're hopping for the best, but they're also preparing for the worst. It's like a defense mechanism, to not let their hopes get dashed. But then again, maybe this Nine of Wands energy is actually preventing them from fully embracing the hope that's available to them. Like, maybe they're so focused on protecting themselves that they're missing out on opportunities for growth and healing. They might be so busy building walls that they're not allowing themselves to be vulnerable and open to new possibilities. And this could also be about their physical health. The Nine of Wands can sometimes indicate physical exhaustion or injury, so maybe these changes have taken a toll on their body. They might be feeling run down and depleted, which is making it even harder to deal with everything that's going on. They might need to prioritize self-care and rest in order to recharge their batteries and regain their strength. Okay, so with this ruby dragon energy, I'm wondering if this defensiveness is fueled by anger. Maybe they're really pissed off about these changes. They might feel like they've been wronged or that things are unfair. They might be holding onto resentment and bitterness, which is making it even harder to move forward. They need to find a way to release that anger in a healthy way, or it's going to continue to hold them back. But then again, this dragon energy could also be giving them the strength to stand their ground. Maybe they're channeling their inner fire to protect themselves and their loved ones. They're not going to back down, they're not going to give up, they're going to fight for what they believe in, even if it's hard. So, yeah, the Nine of Wands is definitely adding a layer of complexity to this reading. It's not just about hope and optimism, it's also about fear, vulnerability, and the need to protect yourself. But it's also about resilience, strength, and the ability to overcome challenges. And it's all tied in with this fiery resistance, this inner passion that's driving their reaction to these changes. It's a lot, right? Okay, but wait, there's more. Because now we have to look at the Emperor, and that card is like a whole other level of intensity. Okay, the Emperor. This card is all about authority, control, structure, and power, right? It's like the ultimate masculine energy. So how does this fit in with the Star, the Nine of Wands, and their feelings about these recent changes? My mind is going in a million different directions, but let's try to narrow it down. First of all, it could mean that they're trying to take control of the situation. Like these changes have thrown them off balance, and they're trying to regain their footing by asserting their authority. Maybe they're trying to impose order on chaos or create structure where there was none before. They want to feel like they're in charge, even if they're not really. It's like they're trying to build a fortress around themselves to protect themselves from further disruption. Or, okay, here's another possibility. Maybe they're feeling powerless and frustrated because they can't control the situation. Like, these changes are beyond their control, and it's driving them crazy. They're used to being in charge, to making decisions, to having things their way, and now they're feeling like they're at the mercy of someone or something else. They might be struggling to accept that they can't always be in control. And you know what else? The Emperor can also represent a need for structure and stability. Like, maybe these changes have created a lot of uncertainty in their life, and they're craving some kind of solid foundation. They might be trying to create routines and rituals to ground themselves, or they might be seeking out people or institutions that can provide them with a sense of security. They just want something to hold on to in the midst of all the chaos. Now, I really need to connect this back to the fiery resistance theme, so. Are they resisting these changes because they feel like their authority is being challenged? Like, maybe they feel like someone is undermining them or trying to take their power away. They might be digging in their heels and refusing to back down because they're not going to let anyone threaten their position. Or, okay, maybe they're resisting these changes because they're afraid of losing their status or reputation. The Emperor is all about being respected and admired. So maybe they feel like these changes are making them look bad, or that they're going to lose the respect of others. They might be trying to maintain a certain image, even if it's not authentic to who they really are. And thinking about the Star and the Nine of Wands again, maybe this desire for control is actually preventing them from fully embracing the hope that's available to them. You know, like, maybe they're so focused on being in charge that they're missing out on opportunities for growth and healing. They might be so busy trying to control everything that they're not allowing themselves to be vulnerable and open to new possibilities. And maybe that Nine of Wands energy is making them even more rigid in their thinking. But then again, maybe this Emperor energy is actually helping them to channel their hope and resilience in a productive way. Like, maybe they're using their authority and control to create positive change in their life and in the lives of others. They might be taking charge of their health, their finances, or their relationships, and making decisions that are aligned with their values and goals. And you know, this could also be about their relationship with their father or other authority figures. The Emperor can sometimes represent a father figure who is either supportive or overbearing. So maybe these changes are somehow related to their relationship with their father. They might be trying to live up to his expectations, or they might be rebelling against him. Okay, so like, with this ruby dragon energy, I'm wondering if this need for control is fueled by anger. Like, maybe they're really frustrated that they can't control the situation. They might be lashing out at others, or becoming overly critical and demanding. They need to find a way to release that anger in a healthy way, or it's going to damage their relationships. But then again, this dragon energy could also be giving them the courage to take charge of their life. Like maybe they're channeling their inner fire to create the life they want. They're not going to let anyone tell them what to do, they're going to follow their own path, even if it's unconventional. So, yeah, the Emperor is definitely adding another layer of complexity to this reading. It's not just about hope, fear, and resilience, it's also about authority, control, and the need for structure. And it's all tied in with this fiery resistance, this inner passion that's driving their reaction to these changes. Okay, wow. Okay, so all together, with the Star, the Nine of Wands, and the Emperor, we see someone who is dealing with some serious changes in their life. Like, they're feeling hopeful on some level, but they're also guarded and wary. They want to be in control, but they may also be feeling powerless. They're resisting these changes, but they're also trying to find a way to adapt and move forward. This ruby dragon energy is fueling their response, giving them both the strength to resist and the passion to embrace the new. It's a real mixed bag of emotions and energies, you know. And oh my gosh, I am just so excited to see what the rest of this reading reveals, because this is just the beginning. Okay, wow, so after all that, now we get the Eight of Wands, which is like, things are speeding up, right? Like major fast-forward energy. So how does this rapid-fire change vibe with the hope of the Star, the defensiveness of the Nine of Wands, and the controlling energy of the Emperor? Okay, let's unpack this, because this could go a few different ways, right? First thought, maybe all this sudden movement is actually a good thing, you know? Like, maybe it's the answer to the Star's prayer. Like, they've been hopping for a change, and bam, here it comes, full force. Maybe they secretly wanted things to speed up, to get a move on, and now they are, whether they like it or not, haha. It's like that dream job offer finally comes through, or that relationship they've been pinning for suddenly becomes a real possibility. Or maybe it's just a flurry of opportunities coming their way, options opening up left and right, after a period of feeling stuck, you know. That Star energy might just mean that this acceleration is leading them to exactly where they want to be, or where they need to be. But okay, then we gotta think about the Nine of Wands, right? That guarded energy. So maybe this sudden rush of activity is actually triggering their defenses. Like they're used to being cautious, taking things slow, and now everything's happening so fast that they can't keep up. It's like they're trying to build their walls higher, but the opportunities are flying over them, or crashing right through them, you know. They might be feeling overwhelmed, like they don't have time to process everything, let alone protect themselves. They might be thinking, whoa, 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 slow down, I need to catch my breath. And, you know, that fear of getting hurt again could be really strong right now. They might be tempted to shut everything down, to retreat back into their shell, just to feel safe. Which, you know, isn't always the best way to handle things. And then there's the Emperor, right? So maybe this sudden acceleration is challenging their sense of control. Like, they're used to being in charge, to dictating the pace, and now everything's moving too fast for them to keep up. It's like they're trying to steer the ship, but the wind is blowing them in a different direction. They might be feeling frustrated and powerless, like they're losing their grip on the situation. They might be tempted to try to force things to go their way, to exert their authority, even if it's not the best thing to do. Which, you know, could lead to even more chaos and resistance. I feel like that Emperor energy is really struggling with this sudden shift. Okay, but wait, let's not forget about the Ruby Dragon energy, right? That fiery resistance. So, like, how does this fit in? Well, maybe they're resisting this sudden change because it's threatening something they're really passionate about. Like, maybe they're afraid that if they go along with this new opportunity, they'll have to give up something else that's really important to them. Or maybe they feel like they're being forced to make a decision too quickly, before they've had time to really think things through and consider all the consequences. They might be digging in their heels and refusing to be rushed, because they want to protect their passions and their values. But then again, maybe that Ruby Dragon energy is actually fueling this rapid pace. Maybe they're secretly excited about all the new possibilities, and they're ready to jump in with both feet. Like, maybe they've been feeling stagnant and bored, and this sudden burst of activity is exactly what they need to shake things up and get them motivated again. They might be channeling their inner fire to embrace these changes and make the most of them. It's so interesting, isn't it? Like, the Eight of Wands can be so exciting and full of potential, but it can also be really overwhelming and scary, especially when you're already dealing with hope, defensiveness, and a need for control. It's like the universe is throwing a bunch of stuff at them all at once, and they're trying to figure out how to catch it all without dropping anything. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into the potential downsides here, because I feel like that Nine of Wands energy is really significant. maybe they're so used to being on guard that they're automatically resisting anything that feels too fast or too easy. Like, they're suspicious of anything that seems too good to be true. They might be thinking, okay, what's the catch? What's going to go wrong? They might be sabotaging their own opportunities because they're afraid of getting hurt or disappointed. Like they might be overthinking it all and talking themselves out of what could be amazing. And, that Emperor energy could be making things even worse. Like they're so focused on being in control that they're missing out on the chance to just go with the flow and see where things lead. They might be trying to micromanage everything, which is just making them even more stressed and overwhelmed. They need to learn to let go a little bit, to trust the process, and to allow things to unfold naturally. Though, that is easier said than done. But okay, let's not forget about the positive potential here, because the star is still a really powerful card. Maybe this sudden rush of activity is actually helping them to heal from something. Like, maybe they've been stuck in a rut, dwelling on the past, and this is exactly what they need to break free and move forward. The speed of the Eight of Wands could be forcing them to focus on the present moment, to let go of their worries and anxieties, and to just enjoy the ride. And it might just be so fast that they don't even have time to worry. And, maybe this is actually helping them to connect with their passions. Like, maybe they've been feeling disconnected from their dreams, and this is giving them the opportunity to pursue them with renewed energy and enthusiasm. They might be rediscovering what they love and finding new ways to express themselves. So, I guess the big question is, are they going to embrace this sudden change, or are they going to resist it? Are they going to let it overwhelm them, or are they going to find a way to use it to their advantage? Are they going to let their fears hold them back, or are they going to trust in the process and see where it leads? I feel like, at the end of the day, it all comes down to their mindset, If they can shift their perspective, if they can let go of their need for control and their fear of getting hurt, they might just be surprised at how much they can accomplish. They might just find that this sudden burst of activity is exactly what they needed to create the life they've always dreamed of. But if they cling to their old patterns, if they keep resisting the change, they're just going to make things harder for themselves. They're going to miss out on opportunities, they're going to feel even more stressed and overwhelmed, and they're going to end up feeling even more stuck than they were before. And that ruby dragon energy, that fiery resistance, is going to play a big role in how this all unfolds. Are they going to use that fire to fuel their resistance, or are they going to use it to ignite their passion and drive? Are they going to let it burn them out, or are they going to harness it to create something amazing? It's all up to them, really. And I feel like they do have the strength and resilience to make the right choices. They just need to trust themselves, to let go of their fears, and to embrace the change. Even if it's scary, even if it's overwhelming, even if it feels like they're losing control, there's still so much potential here. I'm so excited to see what happens next. It feels like things are really about to come to a head. I wonder what the next card will bring. Okay, so after all that intense energy, we've got the Ten of Cups, which is like sunshine and rainbows, right? Happy families, emotional fulfillment, total bliss. I mean, after the rapid fire of the Eight of Wands and the Emperor's control freak vibes, this card is almost shockingly optimistic, It's like, is this person secretly dreaming of a perfect life while all this other stuff is going on? Or is this card a sign that, despite all the challenges, they're actually moving towards greater happiness and harmony? Or is it maybe even like a representation of what they're afraid of losing through all of these changes? Oh my gosh, I'm already seeing so many possibilities. Okay, so first, let's connect this to the star. With the star being all about hope, and the Ten of Cups being all about ultimate happiness, maybe this is their ideal outcome, Deep down, they're hoping that these changes will eventually lead them to a place of complete emotional fulfillment. Maybe they're hoping to create a more loving and supportive family, or to find a deeper sense of belonging, or to just feel truly happy and content with their life. It's like the star is the wish, and the Ten of Cups is the wish coming true. But is it realistic? But then we've got to throw that Nine of Wands energy into the mix, right? That guarded, defensive energy. So maybe they're afraid to fully embrace the Ten of Cups, you know? Maybe they've been hurt in the past, and they're scared of getting their hopes up, only to be disappointed. It's like they want that happy ending, but they're also afraid that it's too good to be true. They might be thinking, yeah, this all sounds great, but what's the catch? What am I going to have to sacrifice to get it? They might be subconsciously pushing away the happiness because they don't believe they deserve it or because they're afraid of losing it. Oh my gosh, that makes me so sad. And then there's the Emperor. So how does that need for control fit in with all this emotional stuff? Well, maybe they're trying to create that Ten of Cups life through sheer force of will, you know. Like they have this vision of what their perfect life should look like, and they're determined to make it happen, no matter what. They might be trying to control their relationships, their family, their environment to fit their ideal. But, as we know, you can't force happiness, right? You can't control other people's emotions. So maybe their need for control is actually preventing them from experiencing the genuine joy and connection that the Ten of Cups represents. Maybe they need to learn to let go a little bit, to trust the process, and to allow things to unfold naturally. And then we have the Eight of Wands, that crazy fast energy. Okay, so maybe all this Ten of Cups goodness is coming at them super fast. Like suddenly, all the pieces are falling into place, and they're on the verge of achieving their dreams. But is it too much too soon? Are they ready for this level of happiness and fulfillment, or are they going to be overwhelmed by it all? Maybe they're used to struggling, to working hard for everything they get, and now that things are finally falling into place, they don't know how to handle it. It's like they're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Okay, but let's not forget about that ruby dragon energy, because that's really key here. So, like, with this fiery resistance theme, is this Ten of Cups happiness something they're fighting for, or something they're fighting against? Are they passionately pursuing their dreams of love and connection, or are they fiercely resisting the idea of settling down and committing to a happy family life? Maybe they're afraid that if they achieve this level of emotional fulfillment, they'll lose their edge, their drive, their independence. Maybe they believe that happiness makes you weak, or that you have to suffer to be successful. Or maybe they're just afraid of being vulnerable, of opening themselves up to love and connection, because they know that it can also bring pain and heartbreak. But then again, maybe this ruby dragon energy is actually fueling their desire for a Ten of Cups life, you know? Maybe they're fiercely passionate about creating a loving and supportive environment for themselves and their loved ones. Maybe they're determined to overcome any obstacles that stand in the way of their happiness. They might be channeling their inner fire to build strong, lasting relationships and to create a life that is filled with joy and meaning. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into the potential meanings here, because I feel like there's still so much to unpack. Maybe the Ten of Cups represents a past that they're longing for, you know. Like maybe they used to have that perfect family life, that sense of belonging, that feeling of complete happiness, but they lost it somehow. Maybe through a divorce or a death or a falling out with loved ones. And now they're looking back on that time with nostalgia and regret, wondering if they'll ever be able to recapture that feeling again. They could be trying to recreate that past, to recapture that lost happiness, but it's not working because you can never really go back, right? You can only move forward. Or maybe the Ten of Cups represents a future that they're afraid they'll never achieve, you know? Like, maybe they've always dreamed of having a family, but they're starting to think that it's just not in the cards for them. Maybe they're struggling to find love, or they're dealing with infertility, or they're just feeling like they're running out of time. And the changes that are happening right now are making that goal feel even further away. They might be feeling hopeless, like they'll never be able to create that Ten of Cups life for themselves, which, you know, is just so sad to think about. And how are these recent changes affecting their relationships with their family and friends? Are they feeling more connected to their loved ones or more isolated? Are they leaning on their support system, or are they pushing people away? Maybe these changes are creating tension within their family, causing disagreements and conflicts. Or maybe they're bringing them closer together, forcing them to communicate and support each other in new ways. Maybe they're realizing who their true friends are, who they can really count on during tough times. Or maybe they're feeling betrayed or abandoned by people they thought they could trust. It's like these changes are shaking up their relationships, revealing the cracks and the strengths, forcing them to reevaluate who they want in their life. And what about their sense of belonging? Are they feeling like they fit in, like they're part of something bigger than themselves? Or are they feeling like an outsider, like they don't belong anywhere? Maybe these changes are forcing them to question their identity, their values, their place in the world. They might be searching for a new tribe, a new community, a new sense of purpose. Or maybe they're realizing that they need to create their own sense of belonging, to define themselves on their own terms, rather than relying on external validation. Okay, so practically speaking, what does all this mean for your person? Well, I think it's really important for them to take some time to reflect on what truly makes them happy, What are their values? What are their priorities? What kind of life do they really want to create for themselves? And then, to really think about whether these changes are aligned with those values and priorities. Are they moving them closer to their dreams or further away? And it's also really important for them to communicate their feelings to the people they care about, to be honest about their fears, their hopes, their dreams. To lean on their support system and to ask for help when they need it. And to remember that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to not have all the answers, it's okay to just be human. This is a really complex situation, with a lot of conflicting emotions and energies. But I think that if they can stay true to themselves, if they can embrace the change, and if they can connect with their inner fire, they can create a life that is filled with joy, meaning, and connection. Even if it's not exactly the Ten of Cups picture-perfect ideal, it can still be a beautiful and fulfilling life. And you know what? I think that even though there are challenges and things that they may be wary of, it is still very possible for that happy ending to come to fruition. It just requires a certain level of self-awareness, honesty, and courage. And with that ruby dragon energy, I think they definitely have the potential to make it happen. Now, I am just on the edge of my seat to see what the last card has to say. Okay, so after all that, we pull the world, which is the end of the journey, right? Completion, achievement, big stuff. So how does this card of total fulfillment play into everything we've already seen? The Star, the Nine of Wands, the Emperor, the Eight of Wands, the Ten of Cups. I mean, that's a lot to synthesize. Okay, first thought, maybe the world is what they're secretly hopping for, even if they're not admitting it. With the Star representing hope, maybe the world is the ultimate fulfillment of that hope. Maybe they're hoping that these changes will lead them to a place of total completion and satisfaction. A sense of having achieved something truly meaningful, They've climbed the mountain and they're standing at the top, looking out at the amazing view. They've learned all the lessons, they've overcome all the obstacles, and they're finally at peace with themselves and the world. But then we have to consider the Nine of Wands, right? That guarded energy. So maybe they're afraid to fully embrace the world because they're so used to being on guard. Maybe they're afraid that if they let their guard down, they'll be vulnerable to attack. Or maybe they just don't believe they deserve to be happy and fulfilled. They're so used to struggling that they don't know how to accept success. It's like they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, Okay, things are going too well. Something bad is bound to happen. And what about the Emperor? How does that need for control play into this? Well, maybe they're trying to control every aspect of their life in order to achieve that sense of completion. They have a very specific vision of what their world should look like, and they're determined to make it happen, no matter what. They're micromanaging everything, trying to orchestrate every detail to ensure that they reach their desired outcome. But maybe that need for control is actually hindering their progress. Maybe they need to learn to let go a little bit, to trust the universe, and to allow things to unfold naturally. Sometimes the best things in life happen when you least expect them. And then there's the Eight of Wands, all that rapid-fire energy. Maybe things are moving so fast that they're feeling overwhelmed. They're on the verge of achieving their goals, but they're not sure they're ready for it. It's like they've been running a marathon, and now they're approaching the finish line, but they're exhausted, and they don't know if they have the strength to cross it. Or maybe the speed of things is forcing them to adapt and evolve, to learn new skills and embrace new perspectives. They're being challenged to step outside of their comfort zone and to grow in ways they never thought possible. And of course, the Ten of Cups, that yearning for ultimate happiness. Maybe the world represents the fulfillment of that dream. They've finally created that perfect life, filled with love, joy, and connection. They're surrounded by people who care about them, they're doing work that they love, and they're living in a place that feels like home. But maybe they're also realizing that happiness isn't a destination, it's a journey. That even when you achieve your goals, there will still be challenges and obstacles to overcome. That life is a constant process of growth and evolution. But let's not forget about that ruby dragon energy, right? The fiery resistance. So how does that fit in with the world? Well, maybe they're resisting the idea of completion. Maybe they're afraid that if they achieve their goals, they'll lose their passion, their drive, their sense of purpose. It's like, what will I do next? What will I strive for? They're so used to fighting for what they want that they don't know how to simply enjoy the fruits of their labor. Or maybe they're resisting the idea of closure. They're holding onto the past, clinging to old grudges and resentments. They're not ready to let go and move on. They're afraid that if they forgive and forget, they'll be betraying themselves or dishonoring the memory of someone they loved. But then again, maybe that ruby dragon energy is actually fueling their journey towards the world. They're channeling their inner fire to overcome obstacles, to persevere through challenges, and to create a life that is truly meaningful and fulfilling. They're not afraid to take risks, to push themselves to the limit, and to fight for what they believe in. They have a burning passion for life, and they're determined to make the most of every moment. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into the potential interpretations here. Maybe the world represents a journey that they're about to embark on. A physical journey to a new place, or a spiritual journey of self-discovery. They're being called to explore the world, to experience new cultures, and to broaden their horizons. They're ready to leave their comfort zone and to embrace the unknown. They're seeking adventure, excitement, and a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. Or maybe the world represents a cycle that is coming to an end. A relationship, a job, a project, a phase of their life. They're ready to move on to something new, to start a new chapter. They've learned all the lessons they need to learn, they've accomplished all they can accomplish, and it's time to close the book and begin a new one. They're feeling a sense of liberation, of freedom, of excitement about the future. But maybe they're also feeling a sense of sadness or loss. They're saying goodbye to something that was important to them, something that shaped them into the person they are today. They're grieving the end of an era, but they also know that endings are necessary for new beginnings. That you can't move forward without letting go of the past. And how are these changes affecting their sense of identity? Are they feeling more confident and self-assured, or more lost and confused? Are they embracing their true selves, or are they trying to conform to someone else's expectations? Maybe they're realizing that their old identity no longer fits. They've outgrown it. They're evolving into someone new. They're shedding their old skin like a snake, or maybe they're struggling to define themselves. They're not sure who they are anymore. They're feeling lost at sea. They're searching for a new identity, a new sense of purpose. They're experimenting with different roles, different styles, different beliefs. They're trying to figure out where they fit in the world. Okay, so practically speaking, what does all this mean for your person? Well, I think it's really important for them to take some time to reflect on their journey, to look back on their experiences, to acknowledge their accomplishments, and to learn from their mistakes, to celebrate their successes and to forgive themselves for their failures, to appreciate how far they've come and to recognize the potential that lies ahead, and also to find some closure with the things that are ending. I also think it's really important for them to embrace the unknown, to step outside of their comfort zone, and to be open to new possibilities. To trust the universe, to believe in themselves, and to have faith that everything will work out for the best, even if it doesn't always feel that way. But most of all, it is important for them to remember to enjoy the ride. This whole cycle. The ups, downs, the in-betweens, it all has beauty. This is a journey and not a destination, and it's important that this person remembers that. Now, I am Suo ready to see what the final card will bring, because with the world here it really could go anywhere. Okay, so after all of that, we get the moon, which is like mystery, illusion, the subconscious, right? Like, things aren't always what they seem. So how does this shadowy, intuitive energy play into everything else we've seen so far? With the Star, the Nine of Wands, the Emperor, the Eight of Wands, and the Ten of Cups, there's already so much going on, and this card is like, it is turning up the volume on all the hidden stuff. Okay, so first of all, the moon is all about intuition, right? So maybe, underneath everything else, this person is really relying on their gut feelings right now. Like, even if they're trying to be logical and in control, with the Emperor, deep down they're just going with what feels right, you know? Maybe they're getting strong hunches about things, or having vivid dreams that are guiding them. They might not even be able to explain why they're making the choices they're making, but they just know, in their heart, that it's the right thing to do. Or, on the flip side, maybe they're ignoring their intuition. Like, maybe they're so caught up in trying to control things and make things happen, with the Emperor and the Eight of Wands, that they're not listening to their inner voice. Maybe they're getting warning signs or red flags, but they're brushing them aside because they don't want to deal with them. And this could be leading them down a path that's not really aligned with their true self or their true desires. And you know what else? The moon is also about secrets, right? So maybe there's something that this person is hiding, either from themselves or from others. Like, maybe they're not being completely honest about how they're feeling or what they're going through. Maybe they're putting on a brave face with the Nine of Wands, but inside they're really struggling. Or maybe they're keeping a secret from someone they care about because they're afraid of hurting them or of losing their love. Whatever it is, this secret is weighing on them, and it's creating a sense of unease and anxiety. And then there's the illusion aspect of the moon. So maybe they're seeing things in a way that's not entirely accurate or realistic. Maybe they're idealizing someone or something, or they're focusing on the negative and ignoring the positive. Maybe they're creating a story in their head that's not really based on reality. And this could be leading them to make decisions that are not in their best interest or to misinterpret the actions of others. Okay, so let's connect this to the Star, right? That card of hope. So maybe, even though things might seem uncertain or confusing right now, with the moon, there's still a glimmer of hope shining through. Like, even in the darkness, they can still see a light at the end of the tunnel. They just have to trust their intuition and have faith that things will eventually work out for the best. Or, maybe the moon is clouding their hope. Maybe they're letting their fears and anxieties get the better of them, and they're losing sight of the positive possibilities. They're focusing on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. They need to try to stay grounded and focused on the present moment and not let their imagination run wild. It's like the moon is whispering doubts in their ear, trying to convince them that their dreams are unattainable. And then we have the Nine of Wands, that guarded, defensive energy. So maybe the moon is amplifying their sense of vulnerability, making them feel even more exposed and insecure. They're putting up even higher walls, trying to protect themselves from getting hurt. But this could also be isolating them, preventing them from connecting with others and receiving the support they need. It's like the moon is shining a spotlight on their fears, making them feel like they're surrounded by danger. Or maybe the moon is helping them to see through the illusions and deceptions of others. They're becoming more aware of who they can trust and who they can't. They're relying on their intuition to sense when someone is being dishonest or manipulative. They're becoming more discerning about who they let into their inner circle. And how does the moon play with the Emperor, that card of control and authority? Well, maybe the moon is undermining their sense of control. They're realizing that they can't control everything, that there are forces at play that are beyond their understanding. They're feeling frustrated and powerless, like they're losing their grip on the situation. It's like the moon is revealing the limitations of their power, showing them that they're not as in control as they thought they were. Or maybe the moon is helping them to tap into their inner authority. They're realizing that true power comes from within, from their own intuition and wisdom. They're learning to trust their own judgment, even when it goes against the opinions of others. They're becoming more confident in their ability to lead and make decisions, even in the face of uncertainty. And then we have the Eight of Wands, that card of rapid change. So maybe the moon is making things feel even more chaotic and unpredictable. They're struggling to keep up with the pace of events, feeling like they're being swept away by a current they can't control. It's like the moon is creating a sense of disorientation, making it hard to know which way to turn. Or maybe the moon is helping them to navigate the rapid changes with more ease and grace. They're trusting their intuition to guide them, allowing them to adapt to new situations and make quick decisions. They're becoming more flexible and adaptable, able to roll with the punches and embrace the unknown. Okay, and what about the Ten of Cups, that card of happiness and fulfillment? Well, maybe the moon is revealing the shadows that are lurking beneath the surface of their perfect life. They're realizing that things aren't always as rosy as they seem, that there are unresolved issues or hidden resentments that are threatening their happiness. It's like the moon is shining a light on the cracks in their foundation, showing them where they need to do some work. Or maybe the moon is helping them to appreciate the true depth and beauty of their relationships. They're connecting with their loved ones on a deeper level, understanding their needs and desires, and offering them unconditional love and support. They're creating a sense of intimacy and connection that transcends the superficial. So, how does all of this tie into the ruby dragon energy and the fiery resistance theme? Well, maybe the moon is making them want to resist even more strongly. They're feeling threatened and insecure, and they're digging in their heels, refusing to budge. They're channeling their inner fire to protect themselves from the unknown. Or maybe the moon is helping them to see that their resistance is futile. They're realizing that they can't fight the inevitable, that they need to let go and trust the process. They're learning to surrender to the flow of life, allowing themselves to be guided by their intuition and their inner wisdom. Ultimately, the moon is a card of transformation. It's about facing your fears, embracing your shadows, and trusting your intuition. It's about recognizing that things aren't always what they seem, and that there's always more to the story than meets the eye. With all these other cards in the mix, they could be feeling totally lost and confused, or they could be on the verge of a major breakthrough. They're being challenged to dig deep within themselves, to confront their demons, and to emerge stronger and wiser on the other side. And with that ruby dragon energy, that potential for fiery resistance, maybe they will resist. So, yeah, with the moon in the mix, things are definitely getting more complex, and the final card in the reading could really swing things in one direction or another. I am on pins and needles here trying to see what comes next. I really am. Okay, so after all of that, we finally arrive at the Three of Cups, which is like a party, right? Friends, celebration, joy, community, connection. I mean, after all the intensity of the previous cards, especially the moon and that hidden subconscious stuff, this card is like a breath of fresh air, you know? It's like, okay, take a break, have some fun, connect with your friends. But how does this card actually fit into everything else we've seen? How does it relate to their feelings about these recent changes? Oh my gosh, I'm already seeing so many possibilities, and I am so excited to tell you all about them. Okay, so first of all, let's think about the star. With the star being all about hope, and the Three of Cups being all about joy and celebration, maybe this is a sign that they need to find more joy in their life, even amidst all the chaos, you know. Like, maybe they've been so focused on their problems, so caught up in their fears and anxieties, that they've forgotten to have fun. They need to remember to take time for themselves, to do things that make them happy, and to connect with people who lift them up. It's like the star is saying, yes, things might be hard right now, but there's still beauty and joy to be found if you look for it. They might have to intentionally schedule time to connect with friends or pursue a hobby they love, but whatever it is, the star energy might be helping them to be more intentional about creating the life they want. But then we have to think about the Nine of Wands, right? That guarded, defensive energy. So maybe they're hesitant to fully embrace the Three of Cups, you know. Maybe they're afraid to let their guard down and have fun because they're worried that something bad will happen. It's like they're thinking, okay, things are going too well. I need to be prepared for the worst. They might be sabotaging their own happiness because they're afraid of getting hurt again. Or maybe that Nine of Wands energy is exactly what they need to be discerning in who they celebrate with. The Three of Cups can represent friendship, but it can also represent gossip and shallow connections. So, perhaps the Nine of Wands is nudging them to be careful with who they share their time and energy with. And what about the Emperor? How does that need for control fit in with all this joyful celebration? Well, maybe they're trying to orchestrate the perfect social life, you know? Like, they want to be the host with the most, the life of the party, the center of attention. They might be trying to control every aspect of their social interactions to make sure that everyone is having a good time and that everything is running smoothly. But maybe that need for control is actually preventing them from relaxing and enjoying themselves, or from letting other people shine, you know? And then we have the Eight of Wands, all that rapid-fire energy. So maybe all these social invitations and opportunities are coming at them super fast, and they're feeling overwhelmed, you know? It's like their inbox is flooded with party invites, and they don't know which ones to accept. They might be feeling pressured to say yes to everything because they don't want to miss out, but they're also feeling exhausted and drained. Or maybe the Eight of Wands means they're able to connect with friends across the world, or they're finally feeling like they're connecting to their own social circle again. Okay, but let's not forget about the moon, because that's really important here. With the moon being all about intuition, and the subconscious, maybe this Three of Cups is a sign that they need to trust their gut when it comes to their social life, you know. Like, if something feels off, or if someone gives them a bad vibe, they need to listen to that inner voice and steer clear. They also might be feeling that their relationships with friends and family are changing and evolving, perhaps in ways they can't completely see yet. And of course, we have the Ten of Cups, that ultimate desire for happiness and fulfillment. Maybe the Three of Cups is a reminder that true happiness comes from connecting with others, you know? It isn't always about a romantic partner. It's about sharing your life with people who love and support you, and who make you laugh and feel good about yourself. It's about creating a sense of community and belonging. Or maybe they're realizing that they can find that Ten of Cups feeling with their friends, even if their romantic life isn't perfect right now. So, how does all of this tie into the Ruby Dragon energy and the fiery resistance theme? Well, maybe they're resisting the idea of letting go and having fun, because they feel like they need to be serious and focused on their problems, or maybe they feel like they don't deserve to have fun. Or maybe they're channeling that fiery energy into their social life, becoming the life of the party and spreading joy and laughter wherever they go, or maybe they're becoming more passionate in their friendships and relationships. But here's another way to look at it. Maybe they're resisting the idea of superficial connections, you know. Like, they don't want to waste their time with people who aren't truly there for them, who are just looking for a good time. They want authentic, meaningful relationships, and they're not willing to settle for anything less. So they're being selective about who they spend their time with, and they're prioritizing quality over quantity. That Nine of Wands is really coming in handy here. Or maybe they're resisting the pressure to conform to social norms, you know? Like, they don't want to feel like they have to be a certain way to fit in or to be accepted by their friends. They want to be true to themselves, and they want to surround themselves with people who love and appreciate them for who they are, flaws and all. Okay, so what does all of this mean for your person, practically speaking? Well, I think it's a sign that they need to prioritize connection and joy in their life, you know? Even if things are tough right now, they need to remember to take time for themselves, to do things that make them happy, and to connect with people who lift them up. They also need to trust their intuition when it comes to their social life. They also, in my opinion, need to learn to celebrate all of the wins, whether big or small, in order to really keep that high momentum going. It's also really important to be discerning about who they spend their time with, you know? To surround themselves with people who are supportive, positive, and authentic. And to let go of the relationships that are draining their energy or bringing them down. It really is okay to let go of relationships that are not working for you anymore, in order to move on and make space for relationships that are, you know. And I think it's a sign that they need to be true to themselves, you know, to not try to be someone they're not, or to conform to social expectations. to embrace their unique quirks and qualities, and to find people who love and appreciate them for who they are. This is such a beautiful card to end on because it really brings everything full circle. It's like, even with all the challenges and uncertainties, there's still so much potential for joy, connection, and fulfillment. You know. And it's all about making the conscious choice to focus on the positive, to embrace the present moment, and to connect with the people who matter most. And honestly, I feel like this person has everything they need to create a life that's truly amazing, you know. They have the hope of the star, the resilience of the Nine of Wands, the leadership of the Emperor, the adaptability of the Eight of Wands, the emotional depth of the Moon, and the potential for joy and connection of the Three of Cups. And of course, they have that fiery ruby dragon energy, that inner strength and passion that will help them to overcome any obstacle and to achieve their dreams. So yeah, my final advice is to just trust yourself, to believe in yourself, and to know that you are capable of anything you set your mind to, you know? Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Embrace the change, embrace the unknown, and embrace the joy that is available to you. You've got this. I am so excited for what's to come for you. You are on the right path. I truly, truly mean that. With this ruby dragon illuminating all the things we discussed today, this is truly your time to shine. The world is waiting for what you have to offer. So go out there and share it. I know I'm excited to see what you do. Okay, pile with the opal heart, welcome. This crystal is all about clarifying things, helping you see through the fog, and I think that's so perfect for this reading, which is themed around softened acceptance. We're really trying to gently embrace these shifting tides, focusing on the emotional side of things, and finding compassion in the changes, you know. So let's dive right in because these cards are speaking to me. The first card we have is the Knight of Swords. Ooh, this is like immediate energy. This knight, he's like charging forward, right? Swords are all about the mind, about action, about communication. So he's coming in hot. He's got a very clear idea, a very clear goal, and he's not afraid to go for it. This could definitely represent those recent changes like someone just bursting onto the scene, or a sudden decision, or even just a really strong impulse, you know? He doesn't always think before he acts. It's giving, ready, fire, aim, you know. And with these recent changes, that makes me think this person could be feeling really driven, like they need to make something happen, or that they were compelled to start these changes, like there's a sense of urgency and maybe even a little bit of recklessness. Because swords can be sharp, right? They can cut through things, but they can also hurt. So this knight, while he's all about taking action, he might not be considering all the consequences, and that is something that is. I'm seeing that it's weighing on him. It's almost like he's so focused on his goal that he's kind of blinded to everything else around him. It's that classic head down, charging forward energy. And this makes me wonder, what was he charging towards? Or what was he running away from? Maybe these changes weren't just about achieving something, but also about escaping something else. Or maybe, just maybe, these changes stem from a deeply rooted desire to prove something, to be seen as capable or strong. Think about it. Knights are often on a mission, right? They're trying to prove their worth. So this Knight of Swords, in the context of these recent changes, might be trying to prove something to himself or to someone else. Maybe he felt like he needed to take control, to make a bold move, to show that he's not afraid. And honestly, that can be exhausting. I mean, just imagine running full speed all the time, right? You're bound to get tired and maybe even a little bit injured. And yeah, I'm kind of feeling like this headstrongness. It's like this person threw themselves headfirst into these changes without fully thinking it through, and now they might be realizing the impact of their actions, the weight of their decisions. It's like they acted impulsively, and now the reality of the situation is starting to sink in. But what's super interesting to me is that the opal heart wants us to see things clearly. So maybe this knight's clarity is only just beginning. He thought he knew what he was doing, but now he's not so sure. I feel like he is just starting to wake up to everything. Ooh-oh, I'm getting chills. Okay, that's a good sign. Let's see what's next because this is getting good. Okay, so after all that Knight of Swords energy, we get the Four of Swords. And this is like, whoa, a complete contrast, right? We go from all this action, all this mental energy to, Stillness, rest, recuperation. This card is all about taking a break, stepping back, and just breathing. Think of it like this. After the knight charges in, he crashes. He needs to recover. So this Four of Swords is like a forced pause. Maybe this person is feeling burnt out from all the changes they initiated. Maybe they're realizing that they need to take some time to reassess, to recharge, before moving forward. It's almost like the universe is saying, okay, you've done enough. Now you need to rest. And sometimes, that's the hardest thing to do, right? Especially after being so driven and focused. It's like, how do you just stop? How do you turn off that mental energy? But this card is telling me that it's absolutely necessary. That this person needs to prioritize their mental and emotional well-being, or they won't be able to handle the long-term consequences of these changes. This is like the universe forcing them to sit down. This makes me think that the changes that the Knight of Swords brought weren't sustainable. Maybe he was running on fumes, or adrenaline, or something like that. But that can only last for so long, you know? I also feel like there's an element of needing to process everything that's happened, I think. The Four of Swords isn't just about physical rest. It's about mental and emotional rest too. So, this person might be grappling with the aftermath of their actions, trying to make sense of everything that's unfolded. Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed by the consequences, or maybe they're just exhausted from the sheer amount of energy they've expended. But either way, this card is telling me that they need to take time to reflect, to heal, and to find some inner peace. And with the opal heart being all about clarity, maybe this rest is what they need in order to gain some clarity about the situation, about themselves, about what they truly want. This is so interesting to me. It's like the Knight of Swords created this chaos, and now the Four of Swords is forcing him to deal with it. He is realizing that he needs to stop and breathe and assess the situation. He can't just charge blindly forever, and honestly, that's a really important lesson. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to just stop, be still, listen, because that's where you can hear your own intuition, your own inner voice, telling you what to do next. And I feel like that's exactly what this person needs right now. What's crazy is that I'm feeling like they know this, deep down, but are resisting it. Like they don't want to stop. They are afraid of what they might find if they stop. Ooh, okay. Okay, this is really coming together because the softened acceptance is telling me to be gentle with that part of him that is resisting rest, but the Four of Swords is telling him that he has to. This is the crux of the situation. This is the tension. This is the thing he's struggling with. Maybe the recent changes triggered a deep-seated fear of stillness, a fear of facing their own thoughts and emotions. So, they are trying to avoid this stillness by keeping busy, by staying active. But the universe is like, nope, you need to deal with this. And the more they resist, the harder it will be. The longer they put it off, the more painful it will become. Because eventually, they're going to crash, right? And the crash will be even worse than if they had just taken the time to rest in the first place. That's what the Four of Swords is trying to teach them. It's saying, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to need a break. It's okay to just be. And that's where the healing can begin. That's where the clarity can emerge. That's where they can find the strength to move forward in a healthy and sustainable way. All right, so we have this headstrong energy followed by forced stillness, but what the heck is up next, because I am dying to know. Okay, so after the Knight of Swords and the Four of Swords, we have the Devil. Whoa, this card is heavy, right? It's all about restriction, limitation, feeling trapped, feeling bound by something or someone. So, in the context of these recent changes, this could mean that this person is feeling trapped by their own choices, you know. Like they made these changes, but now they're realizing that they're not as free as they thought they would be. Maybe they're feeling stuck in a situation that they created themselves. Or maybe they're feeling controlled by external forces, by other people, or by their own desires. The Devil often represents addiction, unhealthy attachments, and destructive patterns. So this could mean that this person is struggling with some kind of addiction, whether it's to work, to a relationship, to a substance, or even just to a certain way of thinking. And this addiction is keeping them trapped, preventing them from moving forward. It is like they are chained to something that is not good for them. This is making me think. the Knight of Swords rushed into these changes, right? And maybe he was trying to break free from something, but now he's just finding himself in a different kind of prison. Maybe the changes themselves have become the chains. Maybe he's realizing that he traded one set of limitations for another. I think it's more like that. This also makes me think. Perhaps these changes were driven by ego, by a need to feel powerful or in control. And now, that ego is trapping them. The devil is all about ego, about the shadow self, about the parts of ourselves that we don't want to acknowledge. So, this could mean that this person is struggling with their own dark side, with their own flaws and insecurities. And instead of facing them, they're trying to suppress them, to ignore them. But that only makes them stronger, right? The more you try to suppress something, the more it festers and grows. So, this person needs to confront their demons, to acknowledge their weaknesses, and to find a way to integrate them into their whole self. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. The recent changes might have exposed some of their deepest insecurities, and that's why they're feeling so trapped. They don't want to face those insecurities, so they're clinging to these changes, even though they're not making them happy. They're stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage, repeating the same patterns over and over again. The opal heart is there, though, right? To help them see through the illusion, to see the truth about themselves and their situation. With that in mind, the devil can also represent a lack of self-worth, a feeling that they're not good enough, that they don't deserve happiness. And that's why they're clinging to these unhealthy attachments, because they don't believe they can find anything better. They're settling for less than they deserve because they don't think they deserve more. They've built this cage for themselves. So the Devil card is urging them to break free from these limiting beliefs, to recognize their own worth, and to start treating themselves with compassion and respect. It's about taking responsibility for their own lives, for their own happiness, and for their own well-being. It's about saying, I deserve better than this, and then taking the steps to create a better life for themselves. Okay, so we have this Knight of Swords rushing in, then we have the Four of Swords forcing him to rest, and then we have the devil trapping him in his own patterns. But how does this all connect to the theme of softened acceptance? I think it's like, the softened acceptance comes in when this person realizes that they're not perfect, that they have flaws and insecurities, and that they're not always in control. They were trying so desperately to force change, but the universe stepped in and said, hey, you need to slow down. And the Devil card is showing them that they can't control everything, that they need to let go of their ego and surrender to the process. It's about accepting themselves, flaws and all, and about accepting the limitations of their own power. This is a tough one because it means admitting that they messed up, that they made mistakes. And that's hard for anyone to do, especially for someone with such a strong personality. But it's also liberating because it frees them from the burden of perfection. It allows them to be human, to be vulnerable, and to connect with others on a deeper level. So, in essence, it's about finding compassion for themselves, for their own struggles, and for their own imperfections. I think this person is going to be working through some intense feelings of guilt and shame around these changes. They might be regretting some of their decisions or feeling like they let people down. But the softened acceptance is about forgiving themselves, about recognizing that they did the best they could with what they knew at the time, and about learning from their mistakes. Because the devil isn't about being inherently bad, you know? It's about recognizing the parts of ourselves that need healing, the parts that are holding us back from our true potential. And it's about choosing to break free from those chains, to step into our own power, and to create a life that is aligned with our values and our highest good. So, wow, that was a lot, right? From charging forward to forced rest to feeling trapped. I feel like we've only scratched the surface, but I am so excited to see how this unfolds. Okay, so we have this Knight of Swords rushing in, then we have the Four of Swords forcing him to rest, and then we have the devil trapping him in his own patterns. I feel like we've only scratched the surface, but I am so excited to see how this unfolds, and now we get the Empress. Ooh, oh, wow. Okay, so after all that heavy energy, after all that struggle, we get this beautiful, nurturing, abundant energy of the Empress. This is like a breath of fresh air, right? The Empress is all about creation, about fertility, about abundance, about nurturing yourself and others. She's connected to Venus, to love, to beauty, to pleasure. So this is a really interesting contrast to the previous cards, especially the Devil. It's like, after feeling so trapped and restricted, the universe is now offering a path towards freedom and abundance. But how does it all connect? The Empress, in this context, I think, is about learning to nurture yourself, to mother yourself, to give yourself the love and compassion that you need. Because, let's be real, this person has probably been neglecting themselves for a long time, right? The Knight of Swords was so focused on his goals that he didn't take time to care for himself. The Four of Swords was forced rest, not chosen rest, and the Devil was trapped in his own unhealthy patterns. So, the Empress is like a gentle reminder that they deserve love, that they deserve care, and that they have the power to create a life that is full of beauty and joy. I'm kind of feeling like this is a call to connect with their feminine energy, you know? It's not necessarily about gender, but about embracing qualities like intuition, compassion, and receptivity. The Knight of Swords is very masculine energy, action, logic, and drive. But the Empress is about balance, about integrating both masculine and feminine energies within themselves. I wonder if the recent changes pushed this person out of balance into an overly masculine space. Maybe they felt like they had to be strong and in control all the time, and they forgot how to be soft, how to be vulnerable. Ooh, what if these changes relate to motherhood or creating a family? Maybe there are some deep, deep anxieties there. This card is also about creativity, about birthing something new into the world. It could be a literal birth, but it could also be a new project, a new relationship, a new way of being. So, the Empress is encouraging this person to tap into their creative potential, to express themselves, and to bring their unique gifts to the world. But I also think that it's important that it comes from a place of self-love, you know. They can't create something beautiful from a place of restriction and fear. They need to first break free from the Devil's chains, and then embrace the Empress's energy of abundance and creation. So, maybe the lesson here is to not force anything, to not try to control the outcome, but to trust the process and to allow things to unfold naturally. It's like the Knight of Swords was all about forcing things, about making things happen. But the Empress is about allowing things to happen, about surrendering to the flow of life. I think this person is going to have to make a conscious effort to shift their mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. They've been so focused on what they lack, on what they're afraid of losing, that they've forgotten to appreciate what they already have. So, the Empress is inviting them to focus on the good things in their lives, to cultivate gratitude, and to recognize the abundance that surrounds them. It's like, even in the midst of chaos and change, there is still beauty to be found, there is still love to be shared, and there is still hope for the future. But, with the crystal being Opal Heart, which is about clarifying, it also tells me this person needs to get crystal clear on what it is they actually want. Because I feel like they have been running around putting out fires so much, and just reacting and impulsively doing, that they forgot to check in with themselves. So, they need to get clear about their values, about their passions, and about their dreams. What truly makes them happy? What truly brings them joy? I feel like this person has been living their life according to other people's expectations, or according to some outdated belief system. And the Empress is encouraging them to break free from those limitations and to start living their life on their own terms. It's about honoring their own unique needs and desires, and about creating a life that is authentic and fulfilling. The Empress can be about sensual pleasure, about enjoying the simple things in life, like good food, good music, good company, a comfortable environment, a beautiful space. So maybe this person needs to indulge in some self-care activities, to treat themselves to something special, to reconnect with their senses, and to find pleasure in the present moment. It's like they've been so busy worrying about the future that they've forgotten how to enjoy the now. What is so wild to me is that this could be a card about radical self-acceptance and a call for balance. Like, on one hand, we have the Devil, which could mean that this person is feeling unworthy, like they don't deserve good things. But on the other hand, we have the Empress, which is telling them that they are worthy, that they do deserve happiness and abundance. So, it's about finding that middle ground, about recognizing their own flaws and imperfections, but also about celebrating their strengths and their unique qualities. I feel like the Empress is showing up to tell them to mother themselves because no one else will. Or maybe, to be less dramatic, no one else can. This is work they have to do themselves, but I can see how hard that must be. And it also makes me wonder, what does mothering themselves even look like for this person? Is it about setting boundaries? Is it about saying no to things that drain their energy? Is it about prioritizing their own needs? Is it about seeking out support and guidance? Is it about creating a safe and nurturing environment for themselves? Maybe there's a need for them to connect with nature, to spend time in the garden, to walk in the forest, to breathe fresh air, to feel the sun on their skin, to reconnect with the earth and all its abundance. I think that is something simple this person could do right now to take things in the right direction. Nature is so grounding, so healing, and so inspiring. But also, this person is someone who acts. So, I feel like they will feel like they are doing something wrong if they are just relaxing. So, maybe they need to do something creative in nature. Like collect rocks and paint them, or journal outside, or take photos of flowers. Something that makes them feel like they are accomplishing something, while still soaking up the Empress's energy. Because the Four of Swords is over, right? It's time to start moving again, and this person is probably feeling so antsy after all that forced rest. The softened acceptance comes in when they realize that they don't have to be perfect, that they don't have to do it all alone, and that they can ask for help when they need it. It's about being gentle with themselves, about forgiving themselves for their mistakes, and about celebrating their successes, no matter how small. Because they have been so hard on themselves. And I think this all stems from that Knight of Swords energy, which I am still feeling. I think this person is just used to pushing, but the time for pushing is over. The Empress is about receiving, about allowing, about trusting that the universe will provide. It's about opening themselves up to new possibilities, new opportunities, and new relationships. And about trusting that they are worthy of all the good things that are coming their way. So, let's get ready for a glow-up. And I am Suwo, excited to see what happens next. What is the universe gonna throw at this person next? Because, honestly, I am on the edge of my seat. So let's get ready for a glow-up. And I am Suwo, excited to see what happens next. What is the universe gonna throw at this person next? Because, honestly, I am on the edge of my seat. Okay, and after that we have the Three of Pentacles. Ooh, okay, this is interesting. Okay, so after all that personal, internal work with the Devil and the Empress, it looks like things are moving outward again, you know? Like, we're moving from the self to the community, from the internal to the external. The Three of Pentacles is all about collaboration, teamwork, and building something together. It's about recognizing your skills and talents and using them to contribute to a larger project, right? It's about being part of a team, about sharing your knowledge and expertise, and about learning from others. But how does this fit into everything else that's been going on? I'm feeling like this person might be realizing that they can't do it all alone, you know. The Knight of Swords tried to charge in and take control, but he ended up feeling trapped by the Devil. The Empress taught them the importance of self-love and self-care, but now the Three of Pentacles is like, okay, you've nurtured yourself, now it's time to connect with others and build something together. So, maybe this is a sign that they need to reach out to others for help, or that they need to find a mentor or a collaborator who can support them on their journey. Maybe they need to join a community of like-minded people who share their passions and values, or it could be as simple as delegating some of their responsibilities at work, or asking for help with a project they've been struggling with. Also, the Three of Pentacles is about skill and craftsmanship, about honing your talents and becoming an expert in your field. So, this could be a sign that this person needs to focus on developing their skills, or that they need to find a way to use their talents to contribute to a larger project, but it feels almost inevitable. Like, if they do take the Empress's advice and start loving themselves, then their skills will just naturally shine. Like, maybe they've been doubting their abilities, or feeling like they're not good enough, you know, because of the Devil, but the Three of Pentacles is telling them that they do have something valuable to offer, and that they should be proud of their accomplishments. But I don't think this is about ego or about showing off, because that's the shadow side of the Knight of Swords. I think this is more about recognizing their own worth and using their talents to make a positive impact on the world. With the Opal Heart being all about clarifying things, I think this card is asking this person to get clear on what their skills and talents really are. Because maybe they've been so busy trying to be someone else, or trying to fit into a certain mold, that they've lost touch with their own unique gifts. So, they need to take some time to reflect on what they're good at, what they enjoy doing, and what makes them feel passionate and alive. And then, they need to find a way to use those talents to create something meaningful and lasting. It's all about that softened acceptance, right? Accepting that they're not perfect, but that they have something valuable to offer, and that they can use their talents to make a positive impact on the world. It's all about teamwork and recognition. I also feel like this card is about recognizing the value of collaboration, I think, and learning from others. The Knight of Swords was all about doing things on their own, about charging ahead without asking for help. But the Three of Pentacles is showing them that they can achieve so much more when they work together with others. I really feel like the universe is trying to teach this person that asking for help isn't a weakness, but a strength. Like it shows you can trust others, that you are a great judge of character. But this also has a flip side. Maybe this person is working with others, but they're not feeling valued or appreciated, Maybe they're feeling like their contributions are being overlooked, or that they're not getting the recognition they deserve. So, the Three of Pentacles could also be a sign that they need to speak up for themselves, or that they need to find a new team or a new project where their talents will be appreciated. It feels like they are finally realizing that they don't have to prove themselves to anyone. They are worthy. They don't need to win a gold medal, or get a pat on the back from their boss, or get a certain number of likes on social media. They are just innately worthy. It is like the Four of Swords put them in time out so they could think about what they've done. I think the biggest thing here is the softened acceptance, because this person isn't always going to be the best at things, and that's okay. I feel like this person always wants to be the smartest person in the room. They always want to be the most talented. They always want to be the most successful. And that's just not realistic. Sometimes you're going to be the least experienced person in the room. Sometimes you're going to be the one who needs the most help. And that's okay. It doesn't make you any less valuable. In fact, it makes you more valuable because it shows that you're willing to learn, that you're willing to grow, and that you're not afraid to ask for help when you need it. Also, this card is coming after the Devil, so maybe, just maybe, the chains that are binding them have something to do with work or with their professional life. Maybe they feel trapped in a job that they don't like, or maybe they're feeling stifled by their boss or their colleagues. Is this person even in the right field? Maybe they are super talented, but they are using their talents in the wrong way. This is all about clarifying, so if they are feeling stuck at work, then maybe now is the time to actually sit down and get real about what steps they can take to change it. With the Empress behind them, it seems like the only thing holding them back is their own belief that they can't change things. I'm also getting a feeling like this person is very good at what they do, but they're afraid to charge what they're worth. Because, again, they don't feel worthy. So, they're undercharging for their services, or they're working for free, or they're just not getting paid what they deserve. Maybe they need to raise their rates, or maybe they need to start saying no to clients who don't value their time and expertise. It's like the universe is saying, hey, you're really good at this. People are willing to pay you for your skills. So, stop doubting yourself and start charging what you're worth. This isn't always about money, though. It could also be about energy. Are they giving too much of their time and energy to others without getting anything in return? Are they feeling drained and exhausted because they're constantly putting everyone else's needs before their own? Then this card is a reminder to set boundaries, to say no to things that don't serve them, and to prioritize their own well-being. It's about recognizing that their time and energy are valuable resources, and that they need to protect them, They can't just give them away to anyone who asks. It's about clarifying where that line is. So, ultimately, I think the Three of Pentacles is about finding that balance between independence and collaboration, between self-love and service, and between skill and humility. I think this person is realizing that they don't have to do it all alone, and that they can achieve so much more when they work together with others, and that they have something valuable to offer, but it is only valuable if they also value themselves. Okay. So we've gone from charging ahead to forced rest to feeling trapped to nurturing ourselves, and now we're collaborating with others. What's next? I can't wait to find out. I feel like this reading is really starting to come together, and I'm so excited to see how it all unfolds. It feels like there's one card left, and I'm just dying to know what it is. Okay. So we've gone from charging ahead to forced rest to feeling trapped to nurturing ourselves, and now we're collaborating with others. What's next? I can't wait to find out. I feel like this reading is really starting to come together, and I'm so excited to see how it all unfolds. It feels like there's one card left, and I'm just dying to know what it is. And it is the Six of Swords. Ooh, okay, this is really interesting, you know? After all that intense internal stuff with the Devil and the Empress, and then the outward action of the Three of Pentacles, now we have this card of transition, of moving on, of leaving something behind. This card is like taking a journey, often over water, from a place of difficulty to a calmer shore, you know? Like the figures in the card are in a boat, moving away from choppy waters towards a more serene landscape. So, it's about leaving behind the storm and finding a little bit of peace. But it's not always easy, right? I think this card definitely has a bittersweet feeling, like there's a sense of sadness or loss, but also a sense of hope for the future. I think that after all that chaos and confusion, this person is finally starting to move towards a more peaceful place, a more stable situation. But it's not going to be an instant fix, right? It's going to be a gradual process, a journey, and they might still be carrying some of their baggage with them. I mean, you can't just leave everything behind, right? But it's like they're learning to navigate those choppy waters to find their way to a calmer shore. So, how does this connect to everything else? It's like, remember that Knight of Swords energy? All that rushing, all that impulsiveness. This feels like the aftermath of that, you know? Like they charged in, they stirred things up, and now they're having to deal with the consequences, and the Four of Swords was like that forced pause, right? Where they had to stop and reflect. Well, now it's time to actually put that reflection into action, to start moving forward, but in a more mindful, more intentional way. It's not about charging ahead blindly anymore, it's about carefully navigating the waters. This card, I think, is showing a journey away from something. So, it's not just about moving towards something new, it's also about consciously leaving something behind, and it's like they're making a conscious decision to leave behind the drama, the negativity, the chaos. But what exactly are they leaving behind, you know? Are they leaving behind a toxic relationship, a stressful job, a limiting belief, a harmful pattern of behavior? Or maybe they're leaving behind a part of themselves that no longer serves them. I think it's a combination of all of those things, honestly. But more than anything, I think they're leaving behind that Knight of Swords energy, that need to be in control, that need to always be right. They're realizing that they can't control everything, and that sometimes the best thing to do is to just let go and trust the process. I'm feeling like this person is really going to be grappling with some intense emotions during this transition, and those waters might look calm, but underneath, there is a lot going on. Like sadness, grief, regret, maybe even a little bit of fear of the unknown, you know? What if the new shore isn't as calm as they hoped it would be? What if they encounter new challenges along the way? But I think the key here is to trust that they have the strength and the resilience to overcome whatever obstacles come their way. And with the Empress energy behind them, they're learning to nurture and care for themselves, to be gentle with themselves during this process. They're not expecting themselves to be perfect. They're not beating themselves up for their mistakes. They're just taking things one step at a time, and they're learning to accept that healing takes time, and that it's okay to feel sad or confused or overwhelmed sometimes. Now, about this softened acceptance. I think this is where it really comes into play. Because the Six of Swords isn't about magically erasing all the pain and difficulty. It's about finding a way to carry it with you, to integrate it into your journey, and to use it as a source of strength and wisdom. It's like they're not pretending that the past didn't happen. They're not trying to bury their emotions. They're just learning to accept them, to acknowledge them, and to move forward with them in a more conscious and compassionate way. And I think that's what true healing is all about, right? It's not about forgetting the past. It's about learning to live with it, to make peace with it, and to use it to create a better future. Maybe those swords represent things that are weighing them down, and they can't just drop them in the water, you know? They have to keep carrying them, but they are learning how to distribute the weight in a way that doesn't sink the boat. But I also wonder, what if they're resisting the journey in some way, you know? Like, what if they're clinging to the past, or what if they're afraid to let go of control? Are they secretly sabotaging their own progress because they're afraid of what might happen if they actually reach that calmer shore? This card with the water makes me think of, like, repressed emotions, so maybe they're just stuffing those emotions down, and that's why they are finding the journey so difficult, you know? Like, it's harder to swim when you're trying to hold a beach ball underwater. I think that's a big part of it. Honestly, this person is probably so used to stuffing things down. Like they're afraid to feel their feelings, they're afraid to be vulnerable, they're afraid to show weakness, because they think that it will make them seem less strong, less capable. So, if they're resisting this journey, what can they do about it? What steps can they take to embrace the change and to move forward with more ease and grace? I think the first step is to acknowledge their resistance, to recognize that they're clinging to the past, and to ask themselves why. What are they afraid of losing? What are they afraid of facing? And then, they need to start challenging those fears, to question those beliefs, and to reframe their perspective. And I think that's where the opal heart comes in, the crystal that represents clarity comes in. Because they need to see things clearly in order to move forward, to see their own patterns of resistance, to see their own fears and insecurities, and to see the potential for a brighter future. With the opal heart there, it's like, what do they really need to see clearly to make this journey easier, to trust the process, and to embrace the unknown? What is the one thing that's been hidden from them that, if revealed, would make all the difference? And what happens when they reach the shore? Okay, so after all of that, after all that internal work and that collaboration, after the Empress, after the Devil, we get the Ten of Swords. Whoa, okay, this is intense, right? This isn't just a little bump in the road, this is like hitting rock bottom. I mean, look at this card, right? 10 swords in the back, a figure lying face down. It's pretty dramatic, I won't lie. This card often signifies endings, defeat, and feeling completely overwhelmed. It's like the absolute worst has happened. But, it's also about new beginnings, because after you hit rock bottom, the only way you can go is up. And with the opal heart here to help us see things clearly. I think there's more to this than meets the eye. What this could mean, what this could signify, what this could imply. I'm kind of feeling like, whatever this person has been going through, it's reached a climax, a turning point. This could be the culmination of all the Knight of Swords' impulsive actions, all of those patterns from the Devil. Like, it's all come crashing down around them, you know. Like, maybe they've been trying to avoid something for so long, and now it's finally caught up with them. Or maybe they've been pushing themselves too hard, and they've finally burnt out completely. But either way, this card is telling me that something has to end, something has to die, in order for something new to be born. I also feel like, with the Six of Swords right before this could represent the fear that they felt while they were in the boat. Like, them being scared that they would just crash on the shore. Is this that fear actually manifesting? You know, it's almost like they were so afraid of hitting rock bottom that they actually manifested it, you know. Because fear can be a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you're constantly worried about something bad happening, you're more likely to attract it into your life. And with the opal heart here to clarify, maybe this is about seeing that fear for what it is, about recognizing that it's just a story they've been telling themselves, and about choosing to write a new story, a story of hope, resilience, and transformation. But with that being said, I don't want to sugarcoat things, right? The Ten of Swords can be painful. It's not a card that you want to see, right? It can represent betrayal, loss, and feeling like you've been stabbed in the back, or, 10 times in the back. So, this person might be going through a really difficult time right now, feeling like they've been abandoned or betrayed by someone they trusted. Or maybe they're just feeling completely alone and isolated, like no one understands what they're going through. I think the real question is, what area of their life is this affecting the most? Is it their career? Is it their relationships? Is it their health? Is it their finances? I feel like it could be any of those things, honestly, or maybe it's a combination of all of them. But with the Three of Pentacles behind it, I'm leaning towards something work-related or community-related. Maybe they put their heart and soul into a project, and it completely failed. Or maybe they were betrayed by a colleague, or maybe they just lost their job. Okay, wait, what if? What if the Knight of Swords charging in was them quitting their job? And now this is the fallout of that decision. Like maybe they thought they were doing the right thing by leaving, but now they're realizing that it was a mistake, and they're struggling to find a new job, or they're regretting their decision. Or, what if it's something completely different, What if it's not about external circumstances, but about their own internal state? I'm feeling like, with the Devil there, that this person has been carrying around a lot of guilt and shame, and now it's all coming to the surface. Maybe they're finally having to face the consequences of their actions, and it's incredibly painful. Ooh, what if the betrayal is a betrayal of themselves? What if they've been betraying their own values, their own needs, their own dreams, for so long that they've completely lost touch with who they are? And now, the universe is forcing them to confront that, to look in the mirror and see the truth about themselves. But I keep coming back to the Opal Heart, right? Which is all about clarifying things. So, what is it that needs to be clarified here? What is the truth that this person is avoiding? I think it's about seeing that they're not a victim, The Ten of Swords can make you feel like you're a victim of circumstance, like you have no control over your life, but the Opal Heart is saying, hey, you're not powerless. You have the strength to overcome this. You have the ability to create a better future for yourself. It is about taking responsibility for their own choices, for their own actions, and for their own life. Even if they've made mistakes in the past, even if they've been hurt or betrayed, they can still choose to move forward with courage and with grace, And that word, grace, keeps popping into my head, so maybe that's important. And about that softened acceptance that we talked about at the beginning of this reading. This is where it really comes into play, because it's about accepting that they're not perfect, that they're going to make mistakes, and that they're going to experience pain and loss, but that doesn't mean they're broken. It doesn't mean they're unworthy of love and happiness. It just means they're human. The Ten of Swords is about surrender, but not in a passive, defeatist kind of way. It's about surrendering to the process, to the universe, to their own inner wisdom, and trusting that everything is happening for a reason, even if they can't see it right now. It's about letting go of control, about releasing the need to be in charge of everything, and about trusting that they're being guided towards something better, something more aligned with their true purpose. And I feel like the biggest thing that this person needs to surrender is their ego. That Knight of Swords energy is fueled by ego, by the need to be right, to be in control, to be seen as strong and capable. But the Devil showed how that ego can trap them, can keep them stuck in unhealthy patterns. So, the Ten of Swords is like the final death of that ego, the realization that they don't have to be perfect, that they don't have to prove themselves to anyone, that they're already worthy of love and acceptance, just as they are. I think that the Ten of Swords is also about forgiveness, forgiving themselves for their mistakes, forgiving others who have hurt them, and letting go of resentment and bitterness. Holding onto those negative emotions is like carrying around a heavy weight. It just drags you down and prevents you from moving forward. But forgiveness is like cutting those cords, releasing those weights, and freeing yourself to fly, I think that in their heart, they already know this. But their head is telling them that forgiveness is weak, that it's letting the other person get away with something. But forgiveness isn't about the other person, it's about you, about freeing yourself from the pain of the past. Okay, wait. Maybe the swords represent all the different thoughts and beliefs that have been holding them back. Like negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, fears, insecurities. All those things that have been stabbing them in the back, preventing them from living their best life. The Ten of Swords is about recognizing those thoughts and beliefs for what they are, just thoughts and beliefs, not truths, and choosing to replace them with more positive, more empowering thoughts, with the help of the Empress. Ooh, with the Empress here, I'm kinda feeling like this could also be about a literal birth experience. Maybe this person went through a really difficult labor and delivery, and they're still processing the trauma of that experience. Or maybe they're struggling with postpartum depression, or maybe they're just feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities of motherhood. But either way, the Empress is there to remind them that they're strong, that they're capable, and that they're worthy of love and support. And what if the Devil card represents infertility issues? And the Ten of Swords is the grief and the pain that comes with that. And the Empress is the hope that they can still have a child, whether it's through natural means, or through adoption, or through some other way. It is like I need to zoom out, because all these cards keep relating to each other, and I need to step back to see the big picture. It is like this person is in a dark, dark tunnel, but there is a light at the end, and the opal heart is gonna help them see it. Wow, this is a lot, right? But I feel like it's all coming together, like we're really getting to the heart of the matter. What I wanna know is, what is this person gonna do with this information? Now that they've hit rock bottom, now that they've seen the truth about themselves and their situation, what steps are they gonna take to create a better future? What is their next move? Okay, so after all of that, after the Knight of Swords, the Four of Swords, the Devil, the Empress, the Three of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, the Ten of Swords, we finally arrive at the Moon. Ooh, okay, this card. This card is deep, right? This card is all about intuition, about the subconscious mind, about illusion, and about facing your fears. It's about the things that are hidden in the shadows, the things that we don't want to see, the things that we try to ignore, you know? So, in the context of everything we've already talked about, this is huge. This is like the culmination of the entire journey. The Moon often represents a time of uncertainty, a time when things aren't quite clear, when it's hard to see the path forward. It's like walking through a dark forest at night, you know? You can't see what's ahead of you, you can't see what's lurking in the shadows, and you're relying on your intuition to guide you. This person is probably feeling really confused right now. Like, after hitting rock bottom with the Ten of Swords, they're probably wondering, what the heck just happened? How did I get here? And where do I go from here? The Moon is saying that it's okay to not have all the answers, that it's okay to feel lost and confused because that's part of the process. It's about trusting your intuition, about listening to that inner voice, even when it doesn't make sense, and about knowing that you're being guided, even when you can't see the path. With the opal heart there to clarify, this card is also about seeing through illusions, about recognizing what's real and what's not, about discerning truth from deception. It's about questioning your own perceptions, about challenging your own beliefs, and about being willing to see things from a different perspective. This person might be holding onto some outdated beliefs or some limiting perspectives that are keeping them stuck. The Moon is urging them to release those beliefs, to challenge those perspectives, and to open themselves up to new possibilities. With the Knight of Swords, I wonder if they have some deeply held beliefs about what it means to be successful. Maybe they are clinging to a definition of success that isn't even theirs. And with the Devil there, I'm betting they have some limiting beliefs about their own worth or about what they're capable of achieving. The Moon is all about facing your fears. It's about confronting those things that you've been avoiding, those things that have been lurking in the shadows, those things that have been holding you back. This person is probably terrified of something right now, you know? Maybe they're afraid of failure, maybe they're afraid of success, maybe they're afraid of being alone, maybe they're afraid of being hurt, you know? But whatever it is, the Moon is saying that the only way to overcome that fear is to face it head-on, to shine a light on it, and to see it for what it really is. I'm feeling like the biggest fear this person has is the fear of the unknown. After all that chaos and change, they're probably craving stability and certainty. But the Moon is saying that life is inherently uncertain, that you can't control everything, and that the best thing you can do is to embrace the unknown, to trust that everything is happening for a reason, and to be open to whatever possibilities come your way. I think that this card is showing a time to really listen to your dreams, listen to your intuition, because it knows more than your head. This person is someone who charges forward, who acts. So taking the time to listen to that quiet voice is probably really hard for them, you know? Like, what if they misinterpret the message? What if they go in the wrong direction? But the moon is all about trusting that inner guidance, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it feels scary. And I think, with the Ten of Swords behind it, and with the opal heart to clarify, that this person is at a point of total surrender. Like, they've tried everything else, they've tried to control everything, they've tried to force things to happen, and it hasn't worked. So now, they're finally ready to let go, to surrender to the process, and to trust that they're being guided towards something better. The question is, what does that guidance look like? How can this person tap into their intuition and receive those messages from their subconscious? I feel like this person has been ignoring their intuition for a long time, you know. They've been so focused on logic and reason, so focused on external validation, that they've completely disconnected from that inner voice. So, the first step is to reconnect, to create space for intuition to speak. That could mean spending time in nature, meditating, journaling, doing something creative, or simply taking a few moments each day to quiet their mind and listen to their inner voice. With the Four of Swords and then this, it feels like their guides are begging them to slow down and listen. Because I think there is a fear that if they aren't doing, then they aren't worthy. Also, the moon is connected to the water element, which represents emotions. So, this person might be dealing with some unresolved emotions, some feelings that they've been suppressing or ignoring for a long time. I think with the Six of Swords there, that this person is so used to stuffing those emotions down that they don't even realize they're doing it anymore. The moon is urging them to acknowledge those emotions, to feel them fully, and to release them, you know. It's about allowing themselves to cry, to grieve, to be angry, to be sad, without judgment, without criticism, without trying to fix anything. It's about simply being present with their emotions and allowing them to flow through them. And the Ten of Swords is basically like a good cry, right? It is like letting it all out. That's one reason why it feels so bad. Because it is bad. But it also feels good because they are finally feeling something. I feel like this person is scared that if they start feeling their feelings, they'll never stop. Like, they'll just be overwhelmed by sadness or anger or fear, and they won't be able to function, or maybe they're afraid that if they show their emotions, they'll be seen as weak or vulnerable, you know. With the Knight of Swords there, I'm sure this person values strength. But the moon is saying that vulnerability is actually a strength, that it takes courage to be open and honest about your feelings, and that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Also, the moon is a feminine card. It represents the goddess, the divine feminine, the intuitive, the creative, and the receptive aspects of ourselves. This person, whether they're male or female, needs to connect with their feminine side, to embrace their intuition, their creativity, and their ability to receive. This could mean doing something creative, like painting, writing, dancing, or playing music. It could mean spending time in nature, connecting with the earth, or honoring the cycles of the moon. It could mean practicing self-care, nurturing themselves, and prioritizing their own needs. They need to embrace the Empress. With the Three of Pentacles behind this, I'm kind of feeling like the best thing that this person could do is find a group of like-minded women who can support them on their journey. It is like they need to be held, and they are scared to ask. This person can also tap into their feminine energy by practicing self-compassion, by being gentle and kind to themselves, by forgiving themselves for their mistakes, and by celebrating their successes, no matter how small. This person, they are so hard on themselves, and it's time to cut themselves some slack. Also, the moon is all about cycles, about the ebb and flow of life, about the changing tides. This person needs to learn to trust the cycles, to accept that things are always changing, and to be open to whatever comes their way. This could mean letting go of their need for control, releasing their expectations, and surrendering to the flow of life. I think this person is resisting something, you know? They are scared of the change, but they need to just go with it. It could also mean embracing the darkness, knowing that even in the darkest of times, there is always light, there is always hope, and that even the most difficult experiences can lead to growth and transformation. The Ten of Swords is the dark night of the soul, but the moon is the light that guides you through it. The moon is like a spotlight, shining on those hidden parts of yourself, revealing those fears and insecurities that have been holding you back, you know? It's not always comfortable, it can be downright scary, but it's necessary. It's about being willing to look in the mirror and see the truth about yourself, even when it's not pretty, and about having the courage to embrace your imperfections and to love yourself unconditionally. Remember that opal heart, the clarifying crystal? This is where it all comes together. This is about seeing through the illusions, about trusting your intuition, about facing your fears, and about embracing the unknown. This is about knowing that you're not alone, that you're being guided, and that you have the strength and the wisdom to navigate any challenge that comes your way. And you know what? You do. You are strong, you are capable, you are loved, and you are worthy of all the good things that are coming your way. Just trust the process, trust yourself, and trust the universe. And remember, even in the darkest of nights, the moon is always there to guide you home. It's time. Hey there, Sapphire Star, welcome to your reading. Thanks so much for tuning in, you know? If you chose this pile, it means there's some clarity coming your way. The Sapphire Star is all about, well, clarifying things, right? And your reading theme is distant observation, which is super interesting because it's about taking a step back, getting a broader perspective, and really thinking about the long-term impact of recent changes. You're strategically planning a course of action, seeing things with clear intention and foresight, which, wow, you're definitely going to need with these cards. Okay, so Justice, the Tower, and the Lovers. Phew, where do we even start? This is like a whole saga right here. Okay, Justice first. So Justice is all about fairness, right? Balance, cause, and effect. Like what you put in is what you get out. But it also can represent legal matters, contracts, things being brought to light. So initially, I'm feeling like there was a situation, maybe a relationship, a partnership, even a job where you felt like things were unbalanced. You know, like you were putting in more than you were getting out, or maybe someone wasn't holding up their end of the bargain. Or maybe you were, and someone felt you weren't right. There's this sense of wanting things to be fair, wanting things to be right. And you know, sometimes justice can be a harsh card. It's not always about getting what you want, but getting what you deserve. And sometimes, what we deserve isn't always pleasant. So, maybe there was a situation where you were seeking justice, seeking fairness, but the outcome wasn't exactly what you hoped for. Maybe the truth that came out was a little uncomfortable. Or maybe it was exactly what you were hoping for and the scales are now balanced. It really depends on the situation, you know? But there's this core feeling of wanting things to be equitable, to be just. Now, here's where it gets interesting, right? Because then we have the Tower. The Tower is like, bam. Out of nowhere, everything changes. It's sudden, it's unexpected, it's often chaotic. It's like the universe just comes in and shakes things up, whether you're ready for it or not. It's a breakdown of old structures, old beliefs, things that weren't serving you anymore. And honestly, after seeing Justice, I feel like the Tower is directly related to that imbalance we were just talking about. Like maybe that situation where things weren't fair, where things were out of whack. The Tower comes in and says, nope, we're not doing this anymore. It's like a release of pent-up energy. Maybe you were trying to maintain a situation that was fundamentally flawed, trying to hold on to something that was already crumbling, and the Tower just forces the issue. It's like, okay, we're tearing this down so we can rebuild something stronger, something more authentic. Does that make sense? And it's not always a bad thing, even though it feels really, really bad in the moment, you know? It's like, imagine a building that's built on a shaky foundation. It might look okay on the outside, but eventually it's going to collapse, right? The Tower is like preventing the slow, painful collapse by just ripping off the Band-Aid. It's like, okay, this is going to hurt, but it's necessary. So, with the distant observation theme, maybe after this Tower moment, you were forced to step away from the situation to see it for what it was, allowing yourself to see a new reality and perspective. You can now look at the whole picture instead of hyper-focusing on the details. Now, let's talk about the Lovers, because this is where things get really interesting, right? The Lovers card isn't just about romantic love, although it definitely can be. It's about choices, decisions, partnerships, and aligning yourself with your values. It's about making a conscious choice to move forward in a way that feels authentic and true to yourself. And after the Tower, there are definitely choices to be made. So, I see two main possibilities here, right? One possibility is that the Lovers represents a reconciliation. After the chaos of the Tower, after everything has been shaken up and torn down, there's an opportunity to rebuild something stronger with the person or situation involved. To come together and say, okay, we've learned from this. We understand what went wrong, and we're committed to creating a more balanced, more fulfilling relationship. This could be a romantic relationship, a business partnership, a friendship. Anything, really. Maybe you and someone else experienced a very abrupt change in your relationship, the Tower, but after stepping back and observing the dynamics from afar, distant observation, you are now ready to move forward with that person. You may begin an entirely new chapter, as you both learned important lessons from the past. But here's the other possibility, right? The Lovers can also represent a choice to walk away. To say, okay, this isn't working. This isn't aligned with my values. I need to choose myself, my own well-being, and move on. And that can be a really, really hard decision, you know. Especially if there's a lot of history there, a lot of emotional investment. But sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is to release something that's no longer serving you. And maybe after a long period of contemplation, this is where you're headed now. And, you know, sometimes the Lovers can also be about choosing between two different paths, two different options. Maybe the Tower has opened up new possibilities, new directions you never even considered before. And now you're faced with the decision of which way to go. Which path aligns most with your heart, with your values? Which path will ultimately lead you to a more fulfilling and authentic life? So it's not just relationships, it's any kind of choice between options now available to you. With the Sapphire Star Crystal, it's clear you'll need clarity to make this decision. And the really interesting thing is that it all ties back to that initial Justice card, right? Because whatever choice you make, whatever path you choose, it needs to be rooted in fairness, in integrity, in aligning yourself with your truth. It's about creating a situation where everyone involved is treated with respect and dignity, including yourself. It's about finding that balance again, but this time, building it on a foundation that's solid and true. So, yeah, that's kind of the overall picture I'm getting here. It's a big one. It's about facing some really big challenges, making some really important decisions, and ultimately, creating a life that's more aligned with your authentic self. And remember, you have the power of distant observation on your side, which means you can step back, gain clarity, and make choices that are truly in your best interest. Okay, so, Hugh, that was a lot, right? But we're not done yet. I can really get a sense of your story, but I need to pull more cards so that we can hone in on what's to come. Okay, so their feelings about recent changes. And for this, we have the Two of Swords. Okay. So after all of that justice, the Tower, the Lovers, it looks like now they're feeling stuck, you know? Like they're at a standstill. The Two of Swords is like a crossroads. It's that feeling of being caught between two options, two choices, and not knowing which way to go. You know, in a lot of the traditional depictions of this card, there's a person sitting with their eyes blindfolded, and they're holding two swords crossed over their chest. It's this image of being blocked, of not being able to see clearly. And I think that really speaks to where they're at right now. They've gone through this massive upheaval with the Tower, right? Everything's been shaken up, old structures have crumbled, and now they're faced with all these choices with the Lovers. But with the Two of Swords here, it's almost like they're overwhelmed by it all. They're so busy trying to weigh the pros and cons, trying to analyze every possible outcome, that they've lost touch with their intuition. They're not really listening to their heart, you know. And remember how we talked about justice being about fairness and balance. I wonder if part of their hesitation is that they're afraid of making the wrong decision, the decision that will upset the scales again. Maybe they're worried about hurting someone's feelings, or about creating more chaos after the Tower already caused so much disruption. They might be trying so hard to be fair, to be just, that they're paralyzing themselves, you know? Or, you know what else it could be? Maybe they're still processing the shock of the tower. That card is a huge energy, and it can take time to really integrate the changes that it brings. So, maybe they're still feeling a little disoriented, a little unsure of their footing. It's like they're trying to navigate this new landscape, but they haven't quite gotten their bearings yet. They're still blindfolded in a way. They're trying to find their way through this unfamiliar territory, and they don't know what's safe or what's not. And with the Sapphire Star being all about clarity, it feels like the universe is saying, hey, it's time to take off the blindfold. It's time to start trusting yourself again. But that can be easier said than done, right? Especially after everything they've been through, I feel like the key here is to not get too caught up in the overthinking. You know, the mind can be a tricky thing. It can come up with all sorts of reasons why you shouldn't do something, why you should be afraid, why you should stay stuck in your comfort zone. But the heart knows the truth. It knows what you truly desire, what you truly need to be happy and fulfilled. So, how do they get out of this feeling of being stuck? How do they take off the blindfold and start moving forward again? Well, I think the first step is to just acknowledge the feeling. To say, okay, I'm feeling conflicted, I'm feeling indecisive, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it, don't try to force yourself to make a decision before you're ready. Just allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. And then, start to gently explore the different options. But don't do it from a place of fear or anxiety. Do it from a place of curiosity, of openness. Ask yourself, what if I chose this path? What if I chose that path? What would that look like? How would that feel? You know, and the thing is, with the Two of Swords, the answer isn't always obvious. It's not always a clear-cut choice between right and wrong. Sometimes it's about finding a middle ground, a compromise. It's about integrating the different aspects of yourself, the different desires and needs that you have. Think of it like this. The two swords aren't necessarily opposing each other. They can also be seen as complementary forces, two sides of the same coin. And the challenge is to find a way to bring them into balance, to harmonize them. Maybe this means finding a way to honor both your head and your heart, to find a decision that makes logical sense, but also feels good on a deeper level. Or maybe it means finding a way to balance your own needs with the needs of others, to find a solution that's fair and equitable for everyone involved. And remember that theme of distant observation? It's still so important here. It's about stepping back from the immediate situation, taking a broader perspective, and really assessing the long-term impact of your choices. But it's not just about looking at the external factors. It's also about looking inward, about tuning into your own intuition and wisdom. Because the truth is, the answer is already within you. You already know what you need to do. You just need to quiet the noise in your mind, take off the blindfold, and start listening to your inner voice. Trust yourself. You've got this. Okay, and you know, thinking about this, the distant observation theme, it makes me wonder if part of what's causing the indecision is that they're too distant. Like they've stepped back so far to observe that they've lost touch with the details, with the nuances of the situation. They're seeing the big picture, but they're missing the little things that could actually help them make a decision. It's like they're looking at a map from so high up that they can't see the individual roads and landmarks. So maybe the advice here is to zoom in a little bit. Get closer to the situation, talk to the people involved, gather more information, and most importantly, check in with yourself. How do you feel about each of these options? What does your gut tell you? What does your heart tell you? And you know, another thing that's coming to me is that maybe they're afraid of making a mistake. They're so worried about choosing the wrong path that they're just staying stuck, paralyzed by fear. But the thing is, there's no such thing as a wrong decision. Every decision is a learning experience. Every path leads you somewhere. And even if you end up taking a path that doesn't quite work out, you can always course correct. You can always turn around and try a different route. So don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to take a chance. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Because that's how you learn, that's how you grow, and that's how you ultimately find your way. And you know, thinking back to the Lover's card, that card is all about choices that align with your values. So maybe the key to breaking through this indecision is to really clarify what your values are. What's most important to you in this situation? What do you want to create? What kind of future do you want to build? Once you have a clear sense of your values, the decision will become much easier, because you'll be able to see which path aligns most closely with what you truly believe in, you know. And that can be a really powerful guiding force. It's like, if you're standing at a crossroads and you don't know which way to go, you can just look at your internal compass, your values, and see which direction it's pointing you in. And that will give you the confidence to take that first step, to start moving forward again. And with the Justice card still hanging in the air, it's also important to consider the ethical implications of your choices. Are you being fair to yourself? Are you being fair to others? Are you acting with integrity? Are you honoring your commitments? Sometimes, the Two of Swords can indicate that you're avoiding a difficult conversation, or that you're burying your head in the sand because you don't want to deal with a certain issue. But the truth is, ignoring the problem won't make it go away. It will just fester and grow until it eventually explodes. So, if there's something that needs to be addressed, something that needs to be said, it's time to speak your truth. Do it with compassion, do it with respect, but don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. Don't be afraid to rock the boat, because sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to be honest, even when it's hard. And sometimes the most just thing you can do is to challenge the status quo, even when it's uncomfortable. You know, it's like the universe is saying, okay, you've gone through this massive transformation. You've learned a lot about yourself, about your relationships, about your life. Now it's time to put those lessons into practice. It's time to step into your power and create a future that's aligned with your highest potential. But it all starts with taking off the blindfold, trusting your intuition, and making a decision. So, yeah, the Two of Swords, it's a tricky one, but it's also a powerful one. It's a reminder that you have the power to choose your own path, to create your own reality. You just need to believe in yourself, trust your inner guidance, and take that first step. Wow, this is intense. I'm really feeling the weight of this decision they're facing. What is the right path? What are all of the possibilities? Okay, let's pull the next card. Okay, so their feelings about recent changes, and we've got the Knight of Swords. Whoa, okay, so from being stuck in the Two of Swords to this. It feels like a huge shift, like from 0 to 60, you know? The Knight of Swords is like action, speed, decisiveness, like boom, let's go, let's do this. It's very headstrong, very focused, very I know what I want and I'm going to get it energy. So, like, after all that indecision, it seems like they're feeling this urgency to just move, to break free from that stalemate. But like, the Knight of Swords can also be a little reckless, you know? It's not always the most thoughtful energy. It's like, I'm going and I'm not looking back. Which can be great, but it can also lead to some bumps in the road. So, thinking about this in terms of their feelings about the recent changes, it's like they're feeling this almost desperate need to just do something, to take control. The Tower shook everything up, right? The lovers presented all these choices, and the Two of Swords left them paralyzed. Now the Knight of Swords is like, okay, enough, I'm taking charge, I'm making a decision, and I'm running with it. But like, is it the right decision? Are they running in the right direction? That's the big question, right? It's almost like they're feeling this pressure to prove something, maybe to themselves, maybe to others. Like, I'm not going to be stuck anymore. I'm not going to be indecisive. I'm going to be strong and assertive. And that's a great sentiment, but it can also be a little forced, you know? Like they're trying too hard to be something they're not, or maybe they're just not quite ready to be yet. And you know what else it could be? Maybe they're feeling like they've wasted too much time already. Like they've been stuck in that Two of Swords energy for too long, and now they're feeling this pressure to catch up, to make up for lost time. But that can also lead to rushing into things without really thinking them through. It's like they're so focused on getting to the finish line that they're not paying attention to the scenery along the way. They're not seeing the potential obstacles, the potential pitfalls. And that's where the reckless part of the Knight of Swords comes in, right? It's like they're so determined to move forward that they're not being careful enough. Now, here's another possibility, right? Maybe this Knight of Swords energy isn't coming from them. Maybe it's someone else in their life who's pushing them to make a decision, who's urging them to take action. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, a colleague, someone who's saying, come on, you can do this, just go for it. And that can be really helpful, right? To have someone in your corner cheering you on, but it can also be a little overwhelming, especially when you're already feeling indecisive and unsure of yourself. It's like you appreciate the support, but you also need to do things at your own pace, in your own way. So, if this Knight of Swords energy is coming from someone else, it's important to set some boundaries, To say, thank you for your encouragement, but I need to figure this out on my own. I need to take my time and make sure I'm making the right decision for me. And that can be a hard thing to do, right? Especially if you care about this person and you don't want to hurt their feelings. But it's so important to protect your own energy and your own well-being. Because ultimately, you're the one who has to live with the consequences of your choices. But okay, let's say this Knight of Swords is them. They're feeling this surge of energy to cut through the BS and make a decision. Okay, so how does this interact with the Lovers card we saw earlier, right? That's the big question. Because the Lovers is all about choices, and the Knight of Swords is all about action. So, are they making a choice that aligns with their values? Are they being true to themselves? Or are they just rushing into something without really thinking it through? Are they really being honest? The Knight of Swords can sometimes be a little impulsive, a little bit caught up in the heat of the moment. So, it's important to take a step back and ask yourself, is this really what I want? Is this really the best decision for me? Or am I just being swept away by my emotions? And that's where that distant observation theme comes back in, right? It's about taking a broader perspective, assessing the long-term impact of your choices, and making sure you're not just acting on impulse. It's about grounding that Knight of Swords energy, tempering it with wisdom and foresight. And remember that Justice card from the beginning. That's still relevant here too, because the Knight of Swords can sometimes be a little unfair, It's so focused on getting what it wants that it can sometimes disregard the needs and feelings of others. So, it's important to make sure you're being fair, that you're acting with integrity, and that you're not stepping on anyone's toes in your rush to get ahead. Because ultimately, justice will prevail. What you put out into the universe will come back to you. So, you want to make sure you're putting out positive, ethical energy. So, how do they balance this Knight of Swords energy with all the other energies we've seen so far? How do they harness its power without falling into its pitfalls? Well, I think the key is to be mindful, to be intentional, and to be honest with yourself. Don't just rush into things blindly. Take the time to really think about what you want, why you want it, and how you're going to get it. And don't be afraid to ask for help, to seek guidance from trusted friends or mentors. But ultimately, trust your own intuition. You know what's best for you. You have the wisdom and the strength to make the right decision. And thinking about the sapphire star crystal, it's all about clarity, right? So, maybe the Knight of Swords is actually helping them to clarify their intentions. Maybe it's forcing them to confront their fears and their doubts, to really get clear about what they want and what they're willing to do to get it. It is possible. Maybe this Knight of Swords moment is actually the catalyst they need to finally break through that Two of Swords indecision and move forward with confidence and purpose. But the key is to stay grounded, to stay connected to their values, and to stay true to themselves. So, here's some practical advice, right? If you're feeling this Knight of Swords energy, don't just suppress it. Don't try to ignore it. Acknowledge it, embrace it, but also channel it in a constructive way. Use it to fuel your passions, to pursue your goals, to take action on your dreams. But don't let it consume you. Don't let it turn you into someone you're not. Stay balanced, stay mindful, and stay true to yourself. Also, if someone else is giving off this energy, stay true to yourself. Don't let other people's urgency push you into something you're not ready for. Okay, so, wow, this Knight of Swords card really throws a wrench in things, doesn't it? It adds a whole new layer of complexity to this situation. It's like, just when you thought you had it all figured out, bam, here comes the Knight of Swords to shake things up again. So what happens now? Is this Knight of Swords energy going to lead them to success or to disaster? Are they going to make the right choice or the wrong one? What is coming next? I think we need to pull another card, because this is a lot. Okay, so their feelings about the recent changes. And we have the King of Wands. Ooh, this is interesting. So after all that whirlwind of energy with the Knight of Swords, we've got the King of Wands. Like, what does this mean? The King of Wands, he's like, the master of his domain, right? He's confident, he's charismatic, he's a natural leader. He's got this fire within him, this passion, this drive to create and inspire. So, how does he feel about all this recent craziness? Well, first of all, I think he's probably seeing the bigger picture. You know, with that distant observation theme we talked about, the King of Wands is really good at stepping back and assessing the situation. He's not getting caught up in the drama or the details. He's looking at the overall strategy, the long-term goals. He's probably thinking, okay, there's been some chaos, there's been some upheaval, but what can we learn from this? How can we use this to grow and evolve? The King of Wands is all about turning challenges into opportunities, you know? He's not afraid of a little bit of fire. In fact, he thrives on it. He knows that fire can be destructive, but it can also be transformative. It can burn away the old and make way for the new. So, I think he's seeing this tower moment as a necessary step, a catalyst for change. He might even be the one who initiated it, you know? The King of Wands isn't afraid to shake things up if he feels like they're not aligned with his vision. He's got a strong sense of what he wants to create, and he's not afraid to take risks to make it happen. But here's the thing, right? The King of Wands can also be a little controlling, a little bit of a micromanager. He's got such a clear vision in his head that he can sometimes have a hard time letting go and trusting others to do their part. So I wonder if he's feeling a little frustrated with that Knight of Swords energy. Okay, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but are you really thinking this through? Are you considering all the angles? Are you being responsible? He might be worried that the Knight of Swords is acting too impulsively, without a clear plan or strategy. And you know what else? Maybe he sees some of himself in that Knight of Swords, right? Maybe he recognizes that same fiery passion, that same desire to take action. But he also knows the pitfalls of that energy, the potential for recklessness and mistakes. So, he might be trying to mentor the Knight of Swords, to guide him and help him channel that energy in a more productive way. But the Knight of Swords is very headstrong. Maybe this is causing some conflict, you know? Is the King of Wands seeing the Knight of Swords as a valuable asset or a loose cannon? Is he trying to rein him in, or is he giving him the freedom to run wild? This could be a source of tension and uncertainty. You know, the King of Wands is all about taking calculated risks, not just blindly rushing into things. So, he's probably weighing the potential benefits of the Knight of Swords' actions against the potential risks. He's trying to figure out how to best use this energy to achieve his goals. And what about the Lover's card? How does the King of Wands feel about those choices? Well, I think he's probably encouraging them to make a decision that aligns with their values, with their long-term vision. He's not going to tell them what to do, but he's going to offer his guidance and support. He's going to help them see the bigger picture and make a choice that's in their best interest. And, you know, it's like, he's got this whole kingdom to run, right? He's got all these different people and projects that he's responsible for. So, he needs to be able to delegate, to trust others to do their part. And that can be hard for him, especially when he's dealing with someone as impulsive as the Knight of Swords. So, I wonder if he's feeling a little bit stretched thin, a little bit overwhelmed. Like he's got all these different fires to put out, all these different balls to juggle, and he's trying to maintain control to keep everything running smoothly. Is he succeeding? Is he on the verge of burnout? And that Two of Swords energy, that feeling of being stuck. I think the King of Wands is probably trying to shake them out of it. He's saying, come on, you've got to make a decision. You can't just sit there and analyze everything forever. You've got to take action. But he also understands that it's not always easy to make a decision, especially when you're feeling conflicted and uncertain. So, he's probably trying to offer some encouragement, some motivation. He's reminding them of their strengths, their capabilities, their potential. He's saying, I believe in you. You can do this. You just need to trust yourself and take that first step. The King of Wands might be trying to help them see the bigger picture, to clarify their goals, to align their choices with their values. He's helping them to find that fire within themselves, that passion that will drive them forward. But is it working? Are they listening to his advice? Are they able to break free from that feeling of being stuck? Or are they resisting his guidance, clinging to their indecision? It's all about the energy, right? The King of Wands is a powerful energy, but it can also be a little overwhelming. It's important to find a balance, to channel that energy in a productive way, and to be mindful of the needs and feelings of others. Maybe this King of Wands energy is them? Like internally, they're trying to take charge of this situation, trying to bring some order to the chaos. But they're also struggling with their own doubts and fears. They're trying to be strong and confident, but they're not always sure they're up to the task. Or, and this is interesting, the King of Wands could be someone they aspire to be. Like they see this person as a role model, someone who embodies the qualities they admire. And they're trying to emulate that energy to step into their own power. And, thinking back to the sapphire star crystal with its focus on clarity. The King of Wands might be seeking clarity himself, right? He might be feeling a little confused or uncertain about the best way to proceed. He might be looking for guidance from the universe, from his intuition, from trusted advisors. He's trying to see the situation from all angles to assess the potential risks and rewards to make a decision that's in the best interest of everyone involved. And to have that vision, he may be trying to take on that distant observation. So maybe he needs to make a choice. Will he take the Knight of Wands under his wing or let him flounder? And you know what? Maybe the King of Wands feels a little threatened by the Knight of Swords. Maybe he sees him as a rival, someone who's trying to steal his thunder. Maybe he's worried that the Knight of Swords is going to undermine his authority or disrupt his plans. This could be a source of conflict and tension, a power struggle between two strong personalities. Is the King of Wands going to try to suppress the Knight of Swords, or is he going to find a way to work with him? Is he going to see him as a threat or as an ally? Okay, so, yeah, the King of Wands. He's bringing a lot of different energies to this situation. He's confident, he's charismatic, he's a natural leader. But he's also capable of being controlling, overwhelming, and even a little bit threatened. The final card will really let us know what he is going to do next. It is hard to read this king. What will his next move be? Ooh, I'm so excited to see. Okay. So, their feelings about recent changes. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. Oh my gosh, this is huge. I mean, after all of that, after all the drama, the chaos, the decisions. The Wheel of Fortune, this card is like destiny, fate, cycles, turning points. It's like the universe is saying, okay, buckle up because things are about to change. Again. So, how are they feeling about that? I think it's a mix of excitement and maybe a little bit of anxiety, Because the Wheel of Fortune is all about change, but it's not always change that we control. It's like, life is a roller coaster, and you're just along for the ride. And that can be thrilling, but it can also be scary, especially after everything they've already been through. So let's break this down, right? How does the Wheel of Fortune connect to all the other cards we've seen? First, Justice. Remember that Justice card from the beginning? Well, the Wheel of Fortune is like justice on steroids, It's like all those imbalances, all those issues that needed to be addressed. The wheel is going to make sure they're taken care of, one way or another. It's like, what goes around comes around. So, if they've been acting with integrity, with fairness, then the wheel is going to bring them good fortune. But if they've been cutting corners, if they've been taking advantage of others, then the wheel is going to swing the other way. It's like karma, baby, and it's not always immediate, The wheel can take its time, but it always turns eventually. And then we have the Tower, right? The Tower was all about sudden, unexpected change. The Wheel of Fortune is like the aftermath of the Tower. It's like, okay, the old structures have crumbled. Now what? What are we going to build in their place? And the wheel is going to influence that, It's going to determine what kind of opportunities arise, what kind of challenges they face. It's like the Tower was the earthquake and the wheel is the rebuilding process. It's like, okay, we've cleared the slate. Now let's see what we can create. And it's not always going to be easy, There are going to be ups and downs, twists and turns, but the wheel is always turning and it's always leading them somewhere. And the lovers, how does the wheel affect that choice? Well, those choices they're grappling with in the Lovers card. The wheel is going to influence the outcome of those choices. It's like, whatever decision they make, the wheel is going to amplify the consequences, both positive and negative. So, it's really important that they choose wisely, that they choose in alignment with their values, because the wheel is going to make sure they learn the lessons they need to learn, one way or another. It's like the universe is testing them, saying, okay, you've got these choices. Now let's see what you're going to do with them. And whatever they choose, the wheel is going to take them on a journey of growth, of transformation, of self-discovery. Now, what about that Two of Swords indecision? That feeling of being stuck, the Wheel of Fortune is like the ultimate cure for that, right? Because it's all about movement, about change, about breaking free from stagnation. The wheel is going to force them to make a decision, whether they're ready or not. It's like, okay, you can't stay stuck here forever. It's time to move on, to take a chance, to embrace the unknown. But it's not always going to be a comfortable process, you know. They might have to step outside their comfort zone, to face their fears, to let go of control. But the wheel is going to be there to guide them, to support them, to help them see the bigger picture. And then we have the Knight of Swords, right? That energy of action and decisiveness. The Wheel of Fortune is going to test that energy, you know. It's going to see if they're really committed to their goals, if they're really willing to take the risks necessary to succeed. The wheel is going to throw obstacles in their path, challenges that will force them to adapt, to be resourceful, to be resilient. It's like the Knight of Swords is charging forward, full of energy, and the wheel is saying, okay, let's see how you handle this curveball. Can you maintain your focus, your determination, even when things get tough? Because it's not always going to be smooth sailing, you know? There are going to be storms, there are going to be setbacks. But the wheel is going to give them the opportunity to prove their mettle, to show what they're really made of. And the King of Wands, what's his role in all this? The King of Wands, trying to maintain control, trying to guide everyone, is going to have to learn to surrender to the wheel, you know? He can't control everything. He can't predict the future. He has to trust that the universe has a plan, even if he doesn't always understand it. The wheel is going to challenge his authority, his leadership, his vision. It's going to force him to be flexible, to be adaptable, to be open to new possibilities. He might have to let go of some of his control, to delegate more, to trust others to take the reins. It's like the King of Wands is trying to steer the ship, and the wheel is saying, okay, you can guide it, but you can't control the ocean. You have to learn to navigate the currents, to adapt to the changing tides, and to trust that you'll eventually reach your destination. And with that theme of distant observation, it's all about seeing the bigger picture, right? The Wheel of Fortune is the bigger picture. It's about recognizing that everything is connected, that everything is part of a larger cycle. The recent changes, they're not just random events. They're part of a pattern, a process of growth and evolution. By stepping back and observing, they can gain a deeper understanding of what's happening, and they can make choices that are more aligned with the flow of the universe. It's like they're looking at the gears of a clock, and they're realizing that each gear is essential to the overall function. By understanding how the gears interact, they can better anticipate the movement of the clock, and they can make adjustments as needed to keep it running smoothly. And that sapphire star crystal, all about clarity. They're going to need that clarity more than ever now. Because the Wheel of Fortune can be confusing, it can be overwhelming. It can feel like things are happening for them, not by them, out of their control. But with clarity, they can see the opportunities that are arising, they can make choices that are aligned with their values, and they can navigate the changes with grace and confidence. It's like they're standing at a crossroads, and the sapphire star is shining a light on the different paths, helping them to see which one is the best for them. So, what are the possible outcomes here? Well, it really depends on how they respond to the wheel. If they resist the change, if they try to cling to the past, then they're going to have a hard time. They're going to feel like they're fighting against the current, and they're going to experience a lot of frustration and disappointment. But if they embrace the change, if they trust the process, if they stay true to themselves, then they're going to be amazed at what the wheel can bring them. They're going to experience new opportunities, new relationships, new levels of success and fulfillment. So, how do they navigate all of this? How do they make the most of this turning point? Well, I think the key is to stay grounded, to stay present, and to stay connected to their intuition. Don't get caught up in the drama, don't get swept away by the emotions. Take a deep breath, step back, and observe. What's really happening here? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? And then make a choice that's aligned with your values, that's in your best interest, and that's going to lead you to a more fulfilling life. I think that is all the time we have today. But wow, that Wheel of Fortune card really does tie everything together, doesn't it? It's like everything that's happened so far has been leading up to this moment. And what happens next? What does this all mean? How will the King of Wands react? It's all up to them and the choices they make. So much to think about. Oh my gosh, Sapphire Star, what a ride, right? I mean, seriously, this reading has been intense. It's like a roller coaster of emotions and experiences. So much change, so many choices, so much to think about. But you know what? You've got this. You've made it this far, and with the Sapphire Star energy guiding you, you can absolutely navigate whatever comes next. Okay, let's really dive into this Wheel of Fortune, because this is where everything comes together. This card is all about cycles, right? Ups and downs, twists and turns. It's about recognizing that life isn't always linear, it's not always predictable. Sometimes you're on top of the world, and sometimes you're at the bottom. But the key is to remember that the wheel is always turning, and nothing stays the same forever. It truly feels like a new chapter is on the horizon for you. The Wheel of Fortune, in many ways, is the final test after all that has happened. Can you still trust the universe to deliver good things to you? Can you trust that the universe always has your best interests in mind, even if it doesn't seem that way at the time? The wheel brings in the reminder to step into your faith and surrender all you have been working so hard to control. So, how does this wheel connect to everything else we've seen? Well, remember that Justice card at the beginning? The wheel is like the ultimate manifestation of justice. It's like all those imbalances, all those karmic debts. The wheel is going to take care of them. What you put out into the universe will come back to you, one way or another. It's truly coming full circle. And the tower? Oh man, the tower was the big shakeup, right? The earthquake that destroyed the old structures. The wheel is like the rebuilding phase. It's like, okay, we've cleared the slate. Now what are we going to create? The wheel is going to influence that. It will determine what opportunities arise, what challenges you'll face. I feel like with all of these big changes, you can have a fresh start, a new you. Then we have the Lovers, those choices you've been grappling with. The wheel is going to amplify the consequences of those choices. So, it's super important to choose wisely, to align yourself with your values, because the wheel is going to make sure you learn the lessons you need to learn. Whatever choice you make will set the tone for your life, but trust that you will make the right decisions. And that Two of Swords indecision, that feeling of being stuck. The wheel is the ultimate cure for that. It's all about movement, about breaking free from stagnation. The wheel is going to force you to make a decision, whether you're ready or not. So get ready to make some big moves. Now, the Knight of Swords, that burst of action and energy. The wheel is going to test that energy. It's going to see if you're really committed to your goals. The wheel is going to throw obstacles in your path, challenges that will force you to adapt and be resourceful. Remember that your heart will guide you to success, as long as you are open to the journey. And the King of Wands, trying to maintain control, trying to guide everyone, he's going to have to learn to surrender to the wheel. He can't control everything. He has to trust that the universe has a plan. The King of Wands is being asked to surrender to the changes coming and release control of his life, trusting the journey ahead. With the Sapphire Star, remember that we are focusing on distant observation. In order to succeed here, you will need to pull back and see what choices make the most sense for your happiness and well-being, and how you can implement justice and balance in your life. Take this distant observation and be grateful for your ability to see things clearly. I can feel so much excitement and opportunity for you in this reading. You're going to learn so much. You're going to have some amazing experiences. You're going to grow and evolve in ways you never thought possible. The wheel is all about trusting the journey. It's about letting go of control and surrendering to the flow of life. It's about knowing that everything happens for a reason, even if you don't understand it at the time. So, what does all this mean for you? What are your next steps? Well, here are a few possibilities. Embrace the change. Don't resist the wheel. Don't try to cling to the past. Embrace the new opportunities that are coming your way. Trust that the universe has a plan for you and that everything is working out for your highest good. Make a decision. You've been stuck in indecision for too long. It's time to make a choice, to take a stand, to move forward with confidence. Trust your intuition and choose the path that feels most aligned with your values. Take action. Don't just sit around and wait for things to happen. Be proactive. Take action on your dreams. Pursue your passions. The wheel is rewarding those who are willing to put in the effort. Let go of control. You can't control everything. You can't predict the future. Sometimes you just have to let go and trust that everything will work out the way it's supposed to. Surrender to the flow of life and allow the universe to guide you. Stay grounded. The wheel can be a wild ride, but it's important to stay grounded. Connect with nature, meditate, practice mindfulness. Take care of your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. This will help you stay balanced and centered amidst the chaos. Remember, Sapphire Star, this is your journey. You are the creator of your own destiny. You have the power to navigate these changes and create a life that is aligned with your highest good. Trust yourself, trust the universe, and trust that everything is working out for you, even if it doesn't seem like it at the time. With this clarity from the Sapphire Star, you can really focus on making decisions that feel right for you. You can observe, you can learn, and you can grow. You are strong, you are resilient, and you are capable of amazing things. I am so excited to see what the future holds for you. You've got this. I believe in you, and remember to have fun on the journey. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, Sapphire Star. I hope this has been helpful. Remember to stay positive, stay focused, and keep shining your light.